Hello, everyone, and welcome to another gaming podcast. This is episode 4. I'm one of your hosts, Steven, the Laggy Gamer, and I'm joined by Dustin Christ. Say hello, Dustin.
Hi, everybody.
Hey, man, what's going on?
Nothing much. Just chilling out. What are you doing? Getting ready to get rained on.
Yes, I'm getting ready to be taken out by a hurricane, but before I get taken out, it's a big moment today for our podcast because we finally have our first guest, and we would like to welcome Fem Trooper Paige
Hello.
Macbeth. Say hi,
Yes!
Hey.
Finally!
We snuck someone into getting in here. I don't know how we got a guest, but someone finally was able to join us. And we're so glad you're here with us, Paige, to have a third person to talk to, especially being a female gamer in this gaming community. Should be some interesting stuff to talk about.
Yeah.
So, Paige, why don't you tell us a little bit about your channel and sort of, why you started one and all that jazz?
Yeah, sure. So I have a channel on YouTube, obviously, and I pretty much started it because I watched other people like you guys do a channel, and I thought, I've always wanted to do it, and it's mostly guys that do it. So I was like, I just want to talk about video games, because can't sort of talk about it with that many people, so I thought it'd be a fun thing to do, I guess.
Awesome.
That's pretty much it. I don't know. I've always wanted to do some kind of video thing.
Well, did you want to just focus on games, which you got a great movie collection as well? So
Yeah,
you plan
that's
on
true.
going into a lot of other stuff like maybe books, movies, or just games on your channel?
Yeah, well, I guess I did post on my channel. It's not just a gaming channel, I guess, but I want to talk about other things like just 90s stuff, because I like the 90s so much. And I also like Japanese culture, too, so I haven't really brought that into the channel, but if it comes up, I guess, then I would talk about that. And movies. I have a big video or movie collection.
Yeah, I see that wall behind you whenever you do your videos, and I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Because, I have a lot of DVDs, but that looks like more DVDs than even I have.
Yeah, it's it's getting a little bit outrageous.
Yeah.
And
So-
if no one's checked out her channel, she does come up with some pretty interesting ideas for videos. I know your latest
Embarrassing
one.
ones.
Oh, that embarrassing, the most embarrassing games that you hadn't finished or something. I thought that was such a creative and good video. I hope you get tons of responses to that thing, because I just feel like that's such a great topic to discuss about. So kudos on your video
Yeah.
choices.
Yeah, okay, yeah, but that video, games
It
that
wasn't there.
she hadn't played, Dragon Quest.
Hey, I'm playing Dragon Quest 6 now, so I can
Alright.
knock that off.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Okay. I'll let you have it.
Yeah.
So, anyway, kids, and I can say that because I'm the oldest person on this podcast at the moment.
That's cool.
Just barely, but well, no, you got a couple of years. Never mind. Go ahead.
Do we want? Oh, actually, Paige, I want to talk to you about this. What is your
Sure.
favorite video game of all time?
Because I usually say it's Earthbound, but sometimes I go in between other things.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's so hard because it's so hard to choose. Like, I don't know. I have different, like, almost like different genres of stuff too.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, my favorite like RPG or my favorite platformer or whatever.
What is it though?
Um,
Oh,
yeah, I
sorry.
don't know. No,
What
no,
is-
go ahead.
What is it about Earthbound that really ties you to that game?
It's the first RPG I ever played, so
Oh, okay. Yeah,
right
that
there,
usually
that's
does it.
already yeah. I don't know. It's a modern RPG. It's the first one I ever played, and it's like it's just so different. I don't know. There's not that many other ones like it.
See, the thing I love about it is, which you live in Canada, we live in the States. There's not that much difference.
No, it's pretty much the same.
But what I always loved about it is it was like the Japanese were holding up a mirror to me. They're like, this is how we see American
Yeah.
culture. And
That's
I thought it
true.
was just so fascinating that, because some things were kind of dead on, but other things you're like, that's not right at all. So,
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
that's something that's always stuck with me. Now, have you played, like, Mother 3 at all?
No, and I want to. I've
Right.
heard you can try and find like either like a hack of it or like a reproduction card or whatever.
Well,
I
I've,
haven't played.
I've heard that the Game Boy Advance reproduction cards are a little sketchy at the moment.
I have one actually.
Well, do you?
It's really. I found it at a pawn shop and it doesn't save, so it's kind of a big shame.
Oh.
But it's cool.
That's a
Yeah,
bummer.
You could download an emulator though and play it. I would
Yeah,
highly
that's true. That's true.
I would highly recommend you play that because I
Mm.
haven't finished it yet, but because my emulator lost my save, but it is fantastic. So
Okay, it's with Lucas, right?
yes,
because every time it's like people, Super Smash Brothers always blows me away because it's like they always put, because isn't it the same company that did Earthbound? So they always put Ness and Lucas, but nobody even knows who that is anymore.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that's the only way that they know who those people are, is Smash Brothers. That's what always drove,
yeah.
It always drove me nuts about Smash Brothers, because people like, well, I'm going to play as Ness, or they're going to play as Ike or Marth from Fire Emblem. And it's like, do you even know what game series that's from? It's like, no.
Oh, when I first got
Yeah,
it,
it kind of
Smash
bothered me. It was
Brothers.
like, you don't even know where Ness is from.
Yeah.
Now he's just a
I had
Smash
no
Brothers
idea.
character.
Yeah. So, well,
Yeah.
that's... I mean, Earthbound, I would say Earthbound's a very solid choice.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, there's certain... I don't know what I would choose, like, I mean, I know it sounds like, oh, wow, but, I mean, Super Mario World I hold highly.
That's a great game.
There it is.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, really
hold
hard
on,
'cause
we are 6 minutes into this podcast, and Mario has been said.
Oh, no!
It was.
I didn't even notice.
Yeah, see. For the listeners at home, we were talking to Paige a little bit before we started the podcast. We were grilling her on the Canadian pronunciation of Mario. Now everyone up there says Mario.
They do. It's not just me.
I know. But
yeah, Mario. It's
we...
more like anything that have like AR. We have like a A sound as opposed to R. I don't know how to describe it, but yeah, Mario. Like it's like I said with pasta and pasta. Pasta. Like it's real sort of dry. I don't know.
I like the A sound because I say it a lot down here. I'll just say A at the end of my sentence just because it sounds cool. So you Canadians got something cool with your A's.
You know,
I don't know. I don't even notice the EH thing. Because I don't think I say hey, like when I'm typing, like comma HEY, like hey, but I don't know.
I was in Toronto for 3 days, and I did not hear A once. I didn't hear once.
No, nobody says that here, so I always wonder where that comes from.
I think it does come from, like, the northern United States that borders Canada, so we just assume that they get it from them. I don't know.
I don't know, because, like for example, I was watching a show and they were interviewing people from Newfoundland, and it's like, I can't even understand what they're saying, so that's a real weird accent. It's crazy, I can't understand it.
All right, Paige, thanks for bringing your racism into the podcast. Now all the Newfoundland viewers are going to hate this.
No.
This video. You heard it here first, folks. Canadian racism. Anyway, should we get into, before we get too off topic, should we get into games that we've been playing, or do you want to go into something else?
Well, before we move past that, everyone always asks a new guest like what their favorite game is. I want to ask them 3 questions. What your favorite game is, what your favorite band is or music group, and what your favorite movie is. So you're really put on the spot now because you got to answer those 2 as well.
Okay. So favorite band? Let's see.
Music, band, anything, anyone want to singer?
Recording artist.
There you go, recording artist.
I know, okay. I'd probably say just because it's nostalgic. It's not, I always find my music taste is all over the place. Like, I can go from liking, I don't know, like Steely Dan, like, I don't know, some new pop artist or whatever. So it goes all over the place. I like, movie scores are big for me. Mm-hmm. So I guess I include, like, Danny Elfman or whatever in my favorite artists. But I'd say I love the Beatles. I'm a huge Beatles person, even though everybody says it. I have seen Paul McCartney live, so that counts.
Not me. I'm a Beach Boys man. Let's fight.
No, I love the Beach Boys.
Now wait, you said something about movie scores. Now movie scores are a big thing for me too, because when I was a kid, I would buy them and I would listen to them and I'd make up my own movie as I was listening to them.
Oh, that's cool.
So let me ask you this: what do you think of? Because my favorite, I without a doubt, my favorite movie composer is Thomas Newman. Have you ever listened to his soundtracks?
Thomas Newman?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. What do you think of him?
I think he's good. I'm trying to just think of like.
American Beauty.
That's a really great soundtrack. Yeah.
Road to Perdition. I think he did WALL-E as well.
Oh yeah, he's taken over kind of from Randy, hasn't he?
Well,
for doing, like the Pixar scores.
I think because I think Randy just did like the theme songs, you know, the "You Got a Friend in Me," you know, that thing.
Well, he did the scores though, like he did the Toy Story score and stuff, but then he sort of stopped doing them.
Yeah, well,
because didn't Thomas Newman do Finding Nemo as well?
I'm not sure on that.
Looking it up right now. He did.
Well, he did. He has done a lot, actually.
Yeah,
I did not know he's done this much
WALL-E
stuff.
score is awesome.
He also did the main theme for 6 Feet Under. which is one of my favorite themes of all time.
I actually still haven't seen that show. Uh-oh.
God, Paige, let me ask you this: do you want to be, as a person, completely down to your core? Do you want to be a completely wrecked? Watch all 5 seasons in a row straight.
Okay. Everybody says to watch it. It's on my list of stuff. Like I gotta get to that.
It's one of those. It's because it's so much about life that yeah. But anyway,
I like HBO a lot.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm gonna get really off topic on this one, but
Sure.
Go ahead and answer that last question.
That's what we do. We get off topic here. It's fine.
I warned her.
I don't
But
even
she
know.
was
Just like my
awesome.
favorite artists and stuff.
Movie.
Movie next.
Favorite
Go.
movie. I sort of give you favorites because it's really hard for me to pick like just a favorite. But I'd say, let's see. Nightmare Before Christmas is probably up there. Aliens, The Graduate, Great Dictator, Mrs. Doubtfire. Trying to think of other things.
Wait,
This is a really
really random
list.
list.
Mrs. Doubtfire and The Great Dictator in the same list. I think that's the first time that's ever happened in the history of like movie lists.
I think
Continue.
so. I don't know. Like I'm just like
Yeah.
It sort of goes between like I really like Charlie Chaplin a
Yeah.
lot, so his movies are up in my sort of top 20 or whatever. I don't know. I love Spider-Man, so we can put those movies. Spider-Man 3 is debatable, but other than that, I like the first two.
Ooh, so which one was better, The Amazing Spider-Man or the first two? We'll put those in there. The newest Spider-Man.
Because I
or the
love
first
Spider-Man so much. I have issues with sort of both, I guess. I like Spider-Man 2, I think, the best, but I think they did a good job with the new one, The Amazing Spider-Man.
I have to agree with you too. It's still my favorite.
Who's the best one?
I really did not like the new one. I'm sorry, I didn't really
No,
like
that's
it.
cool. I don't know. I had some issues with the way they made the Peter Parker character.
That was my biggest pet peeve with it.
Because it was like now
which-
he's somehow like this angsty indie hipster guy, and I was like, no.
He's a nerd, damn it. He's one of
He was
us.
like he's supposed to be so
Like
nerdy that he can't
skateboarding.
even like speak.
he
They made
had that
Tobey
little
Maguire's character
skateboarding
really
part.
uncool.
Silence.
I was just gonna say dead air. It's like
Sorry.
you guys were both chatting. It's like you canceled each other out.
I know.
Well, I was gonna mention the skateboarding scene. Really, I was like, "What is he
That
doing?"
bothered me.
And it sounded like he's skateboarding to the fray, and I'm like, "What is going on? That's not Spider-Man."
No, that
skateboard.
bothered me.
It is now, Steven. It is now. Get with the new.
That was nice, varied list. I like those movies you
I don't know. It
chose.
sort of goes all over the place. the
Well,
That's
sort of
awesome.
actors I stick to too, I guess.
Mrs. Doubtfire.
Yeah, I love like Robin Williams. I like Dustin Hoffman, Tom Hanks. Who else? I don't know. Jack Nicholson. I like a lot too. So I kind of put all their movies. I don't know.
Oh yeah, Dustin. Cloud Atlas kind of bombed this weekend, man.
well, I mean, look what it's going up
Yeah.
against.
Yeah.
I mean, look at the trailer. It's a complete mind fuck. And
Yes.
so, you know, and
It
then
is.
look what it's going up against. I mean, it's not hard to see what happened.
Mm.
Which Paige, you just saw Argo, right? And you said that's a pretty cool, good movie. Did you see Argo?
Yeah, I
you
really
saw
liked Argo.
right?
Yeah, I saw Argo and I saw Looper. I guess this week or last week, whatever.
See, I really want to see Looper because I'm a big fan of the director. Because have you ever seen the movie Brick?
No.
You need to, okay. It's the same director as Looper, and it stars Joseph Gordon-Levitt, and
Okay.
it's called Brick, and it's like it's like an old film noir, but set in the clippity clop of her searching that right now. I hear it, but
No, that's not me.
oh, it's Steve.
That was me.
But it's like a classic hard-boiled film noir set in a high school, modern day high
Okay.
school. It is a fantastic movie.
Yeah, we'll look
I was,
into that.
yeah. I was trying to see if this is the same guy who did like Green Street Hooligans and stuff, but it wasn't. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, I'll look that up for sure.
But anyways, now yes, we can get on to video games if we want to talk about
Finally,
those now.
a video game podcast. We can talk about video games. Imagine that.
So you wanted to start with what we've been playing first, or what?
Let's let the guests go first. Let's be
Sure.
gentlemen here, Steven.
Yes, sure. There is still that in this world, I guess, putting women ahead. But go ahead, Paige. What do you want to do?
Oh, talk about what I'm like playing right now?
Yeah, what
currently?
have you been playing here recently?
All right. Well, I just started Dragon Quest VI, so that's exciting, and I really like it. About 7 hours in, I think.
Yeah,
On the DS? You're playing
Yeah.
on DS?
I'm pretty
Okay.
stoked. I got it for $15 at a pawn shop, so
That's
I was just
fine.
like, all right, I have to buy this.
Supposedly those are getting hard to find.
Yeah, I haven't seen them that much in pawn shops. This one was sort of this really shady place downtown. I was like, all right. So I bought it, and I really like it. It's in pretty good condition, too. Like, the manual is, like, mint, so box is a little scuffed up, but in general, it's pretty good. So I like it. I actually like it a lot. I'm sort of a little bit mad at myself now. Why didn't I play these games before?
Well, I think there is kind of a sort of a stigma that Dragon Quest has to live down, which is it's very stuck in the past. Even with Dragon Quest VIII and as advanced as it is, it's still very... I mean, you could play Dragon Quest III and then play Dragon Quest VIII, and you would have no problem at all. Like, there's graphic advances, but in terms of gameplay, it never changes. So some people like me, I love that about it, which I kind of have a very kind of love and fear relationship with Dragon Quest X, because it's changing things up so much.
Okay.
But a lot of people look at Dragon Quest as kind of this antiquated thing where, you know, Final Fantasy's always evolving, always changing. So
yeah, I don't know. Like, I remember it was Final Fantasy XII where they first did it where you could actually see enemies, right? I think?
Yes.
Yeah, because I remember that was like this big deal. It was like, oh no. And then Final Fantasy XIII, the battle system, people hated it. I actually didn't mind it, though. I don't know.
Are we going to open that 13 can of worms?
Sorry.
I disliked it when I first played it, but after I played 13 too, I really think I need to go back to it and play it again.
Okay. It's so linear, and that's why I think people hate it. It's like, you can't even go in towns or shops. I'm like, I know. Yeah.
Well, that's the way...
Go ahead, Dustin.
I was going to say, that's the way RPGs have been going, though.
I know. So it did change the formula.
It's like as we get more and more graphically powerful, it's like these developers can do less and less with it. Unless you're, of course, Xenoblade, which completely changes the game. But, I don't know. I guess it's since, you know, we want a big graphical presentation. We can't create these vast worlds anymore that we used to be able to.
Well, you know a game that did, but people kind of bashed, but I really enjoyed, was Blue Dragon. That was open world.
Yeah, that was very old
people
school.
People seem to bash it.
So, yeah, I don't know. I really like the old school JRPG thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, where it's like, that's why I'm liking Dragon Quest, because it's exactly what I thought it would be, and I'm like, good. There's not a lot of surprises in terms of it being, oh, that's a new weird thing. It's very sort of the same thing, and I like it.
Yeah.
Well, if you pay attention to Paige's channel, you know she doesn't play a bunch of games at one time. So is that the one, or are you playing another one or two?
Well, I have. Yeah. I'm sort of now. I'm getting a little bit too much going on here. I've got Final Fantasy VII on the go and A Link to the Past for 3DS as well. Those are the three that I'm playing right now, I guess.
A lot of big, serious titles there.
Yeah, that's true.
That is kind of a conglomeration of epicness right there.
Yes, it is.
I guess so, yeah.
So what do you think of Link to the Past?
I put it down a bit because I've been playing Dragon Quest, but I will go back.
What do you think of Link to the Past?
Oh, did I say Link to the Past?
You said Link to the Past.
I meant Ocarina of Time.
Sorry.
Okay.
I don't know why. I was just completely seeing that, and I'm like, that is not right. Sorry. I meant Ocarina. Sorry, I meant Ocarina of Time.
Okay.
There's another one, Dustin. We should keep a tally of how many words will change. It was Ocarina instead of Ocarina. Keep a little tally going.
When I was growing up, I called it Ocarina because I didn't know how to pronounce it. So who knows?
Well, we could do an entire episode of things I mispronounced when I was a child, because I played Magic the Gathering, and there's these creatures in Magic the Gathering called chimeras, but I called them chimeras. I mean...
Same thing. Chimeras.
Oh, yeah, I can see how you do.
Yeah. It wasn't until much later, actually, it wasn't until Mission Impossible 2 that I found out that chimera is the correct pronunciation. And I was like, holy crap, I can't tell anybody about this. But now everyone knows. So there you go.
Oh, I'm sure I did that with a lot of things.
Yeah.
So awesome. How far are you into Final Fantasy VII? I know you said it's kind of a slow process with that one, right?
Yeah, about 25 hours I'm into it, and I played pretty slowly, so...
Awesome. It's 25 hours more than I have in it.
Oh, okay. I'm enjoying it, but it's definitely, not my favorite thing so far, which is interesting.
Well, I really like Final Fantasy VII, and I understand why people heap the amount of praise that's on it. Yeah. But at the same time, it's just not the best. It's not the best Final Fantasy by a long shot. I mean, the reason why people hold it to such a high standard because for most people it was their first RPG.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. So it's like, but it's not my first RPG. So for me, it's like, yeah, it's cool and it's really good, but the story hasn't grabbed me like I thought it would.
Yeah, because I even consider, I mean, of course I consider 6 to be the best, but I even consider 9 to be better than 7.
9's really good too.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, I don't
I have
know.
a feeling. Go ahead, Paige.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I don't know. It's just something about it just hasn't. I find it kind of slow, and that's why I'm not like. I like it when it's really fast paced, and some people might say it is fast paced, but for me, I'm just like, okay, I don't know. I just want something exciting to happen, and I feel like it drags sometimes.
Yeah,
No
I
problems there.
can see that, yeah.
I know with you said you started with Final Fantasy X, like that was my first Final Fantasy. And,
Okay, good.
And so it was like I think I loved 10 when I was playing it, and when I played like 2 hours of 7, I kind of liked what was in 10 a little bit more than 7. I know that just sounds so weird to some people, but I was enjoying 10 for what I played of it.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I don't know. Like Final Fantasy VII is obviously good, but I don't know. Like I haven't played 10 for a long time, so I can't even maybe comment on it because it's been so long and it's not fresh in my head. But I really enjoyed it.
Weren't they supposed to do an HD remake of that?
That's what I heard, and if they are, I would consider buying it like that. But if they're not, then I will just go and buy. Because I don't own Final Fantasy X actually.
Let me ask you this: if they do an HD remake of it, do you want them to redo the voice acting?
Ooh, that maybe.
I can't even remember the voice acting.
Oh,
voice acting is tough.
It's seared into my brain because I remember, because I've played Final Fantasy since the NES,
Yeah.
And when they said they're going to be doing voice acting, I was like, oh no. Because, I mean, the first thing that popped in my head was Resident Evil. And I was like, oh no, not voice acting. Please, not voice acting.
It's just, it can go so, I hated Yuna's voice.
I really loved Yuna. It was
Yuna's okay. I don't know.
It was Titus that I couldn't stand.
He was irritating to me.
And the thing that always sticks out in my mind is the scene where he tries to have Yuna laugh, and it's like, ha 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 ha, and it's like, who would, where's the quality control in that? Who would let that fly? Who would press that to a disc? I don't know.
That's why I sometimes almost wish if they do that they could allow you to listen to the Japanese track, because I feel like it would be better.
Well, if they do an HD version, I think they would probably do that. I'd hope they would do that.
Because it can actually take away from it if they have shitty voice acting.
Yeah.
True. I'm hoping they bring it out because they said they're going to do it for the Vita, and it's so much easier for me to play an RPG on a handheld because I can just take it with me to grind a little bit. So
See, I think
they do release it on the Vita.
Yeah, I think it would make much more sense on the Vita, to be honest, because who cares if it's on the PS3?
Yeah, that's true. It's kind of like been done. That's true.
It's like, but if you could have Final Fantasy X on the go, that'd be awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And plus, with that, I don't know how this cross-platform thing is supposed to work with the Vita and the PS3. But if you buy one of them, you're going to get both of them, from what I understand.
Yeah, that's what I heard too.
So,
yeah. I actually don't have a PSP, and I haven't bought the Vita, so I don't know. Bad.
You don't have a PSP?
I don't. My boyfriend actually used to have one that like broke, and then he sold it to EB Games, so that was like 5 years ago. I don't know.
Well, if that's all you've been playing, is that all the games you've been playing?
Pretty much. Like, I'm slow. Like, Final Fantasy VII, I started in, like, March, and it's still going, and I've just been really slow, or I'll go for a couple weeks, and I'll be like, oh yeah, okay, I'm gonna, like, really grind at it here. But actually, Dragon Quest, I've been going at a really fast pace, because it's on the go, so I can play it faster.
Awesome.
Yeah,
you want to go next, Dustin, or what?
I don't care. I'll go next.
I'll go next. We'll save you for last.
Whoa, what a jerk.
The best for last.
Okay, go ahead.
All right, so again, what I've been playing. First, I'll get the bad taste out of my mouth. Resident Evil 6. Finished off 2 campaign chapters in that before I decided to trade it in. Finished Leon's campaign and Jake's campaign in it, and I mean, it was still stick to my words. It was a fun game. Really had fun playing it, but just was not a Resident Evil game to me. It just felt more like an action shooter and something so far away from anything Resident Evil that I just couldn't get that Resident Evil feel from it. But still a fun game for anyone who likes shooters. Paige, you into the Resident Evil series at all?
No, I haven't really gotten into it, but I've heard the new one is really bad. But I don't know. That's what everybody says, but I don't know.
It's really mixed. There's some good names out there who on YouTube who are holding it in high regard, and there's others who just do not like it. And
people are saying
I mean,
it's not
everyone
like a
has their
typical.
opinion. Yeah.
Let me ask you this though, Steven, because
Yes.
I have a feeling what's going on with Resident Evil 6, because I mean I haven't even played Resident Evil 5 yet, but I have a feeling what's going on with Resident Evil 6 is the same thing that happened with Final Fantasy 13. Is it just it's not meeting it's a good game, but it just doesn't meet your expectation of what a Resident Evil should be?
I think that's exactly what it is, because for me, Final Fantasy, like say the 13s, since I was a newcomer getting into RPGs, they brought me in really good because they were linear, like we were saying, and the combat system seemed easy yet fun and fast paced and kept me engaged, and that brought me in to want to play more RPGs. Now, for anyone playing Final Fantasy back in the past, there's the ones who are kind of downing on the game, saying it's not what it used to be.
Yeah.
And I'm just the exact opposite of Resident Evil. So you can understand where they're coming from, because they probably will attract a new audience with the direction they're going in. But a person like me in the past, which I try to take off the nostalgia glasses most of the time when I'm trying to experience these new games. But I just wanted to go back to tank controls, not moving and shooting. I don't want a gun on me at all. I mean, I'm just so full of ammo in this game. You're not threatened at all. It's not scary at all. It's just an action shooter to me. So if that answers your question, there you go.
Yeah, because I feel like that's like it's happening a lot this generation. Because I feel like when Skyward Sword came out as well, like some old school Zelda people were like, I'm not digging this so much. And it feels like as these series move forward, they have to change them to sort of change with the tastes and the times. Whereas it's clear what they're doing with Resident Evil. They're trying to capture that Gears of War Western, third-person shooter audience.
Mm-hmm. Well, with it, it's just because games, like we were saying before in our last video, they cost so much to make now that you got to get as many people buying it as you can, or else you're not going to make anything off of it. So you got to broaden it out. But what's weird is, like, I'm hearing people say they thought this game looks great. And I don't know what's wrong with my eyes, but I don't think the game visually looks good at all. I think it looks pretty bad for being in the final years of Xbox 360 and PS3. I just thought it looked terrible as far as the graphics. I mean, not horrible bad, but I was expecting a whole lot more. But others are saying they think they're some of the best graphics you'll ever see. So it's just all opinion. No one's right, no one's wrong. So
is it a texture thing, or is it just like
it's got to be. It's a texture thing for me, and there is really no color, which isn't a big deal. It's supposed to be nighttime, dark game, but you can still put stuff in there to make things pop. And everything looked the same to me. Every environment, unless you're in someone else's campaign or you're just in a different world. So, well, not world, but area of the city.
Okay.
But anyways, that's Resident Evil 6, and I traded that in to get Doom 3. Because GameStop was holding a trade-in thing for Resident Evil 6. They're offering $40 for it, and that was pretty much an equal trade for Doom 3 BFG Edition. And I'm loving that game. That game is amazing. It's pretty much what survival horror is supposed to be. If you crank it up on the harder difficulties where there's less ammo and stuff, like I've said in previous podcasts, I don't scare too easy in games. Amnesia did a pretty good job of getting my heart pumping and everything, but this game just takes the jump scares to the max, where there's something jumping at you at every corner, things attacking me from behind, and I'm having a blast playing through Doom 3. Have y'all experienced that? Anyone who was out for the Xbox?
I got it when... Oh, sorry, go ahead, Paige.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, no, I haven't. I should check it out, I guess.
I played it when it first came out on the Xbox, and for some reason, it just didn't click with me the first time, because... I was a big Doom 1 fan, and for some reason it didn't feel like Doom, because I wasn't facing like waves of enemies. Instead, I was facing like one or two at a time.
Yeah.
And but I think it was more that the same thing we were just talking about, where it was like it didn't meet the expectations I had for the series. It's not that it's a bad game, although I kind of go back and forth on the flashlight thing. But that's been fixed for this one, so...
Yeah, a rectified thing in this one. And Paige, I'm a big survival horror person. I love survival horror games. That's why that's all it's taking up this first slot. But Doom 3, really fun. And also the BFG edition comes with Resurrection of Evil expansion on it and Lost Mission, so you're getting a lot of content. It also comes with Doom 1 and Doom 2 on it, so much bang for your buck. And I actually played through some of Doom 1, and I really enjoyed that as well. Like you were saying, Dustin, like you go in and you're facing these waves of enemies, but it's so easy with how so simple yet challenging with to just aim and shoot and hope your bullet's going to hit the target you're aiming in the right area with the auto aim. But just finding the key cards, finding all the secret rooms. I mean, that's a fun game right now. I'm enjoying the crap out of that game, and it's how many years old? So there you go. Doom holds up to me.
Did you ever play Doom 64?
I haven't, and now I want to get it really bad.
Yeah, you need to get that because it's a really. I mean, it's not held in the same esteem as like Doom, Doom 2, Final Doom, that kind of stuff, but it's still a really awesome Doom game.
Nice.
Yeah.
Other than that, I have played no Final Fantasy VI this time.
Whew.
I'm sorry, Dustin. No Final Fantasy VI this time. I was kind of like how Paige got with Final Fantasy VII. You're waiting for something that kind of exciting to happen. Please don't kill me, Dustin. But nothing was happening exciting at the moment. And I moved on to playing another game, which you might not hate me so much for, but Trails in the Sky.
Oh, there you go.
I started that up. And I'm about 12 hours into that now. And I finished the prologue. I'm like halfway through chapter 1. And it's amazing. Trails in the Sky. Dustin, his review is perfect on it. So far, it's just an amazing story about Joshua and what's his sister's name?
Estelle.
Estelle. Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Estelle. It's just seeing like the prologue. That's like one of the longest prologues I've ever seen in a game, but just building the relationship up and everything. Then finally getting into chapter 1 with meeting, what's his name, Gary and everything. Mm-hmm. Is that his name, Gary?
I don't remember. I only remember Estelle, Joshua, and Oliver, because those are my...
Oliver, that's his name, Oliver. I don't know why I thought of Gary. Wow, that was way off.
Because it's an awesome name.
Well, I'm just getting into meeting him. He was in my party for a little bit, and he left, and I think I'm about to pick him up again. But he is a character. He's a great character so far in the game. But it's a classic, pretty much turn-based strategy RPG. Not strategy RPG. It's kind of mixed with strategy and old school turn-based where you're on a grid, but so far I haven't really found that I've had to use any tactics or anything in the battles. I've just pretty much played it turn-based style, and it's got a turn bar on the side so you can see which character is going to attack in what order, which I love that. And I want to say I thought Final Fantasy X did that.
Yes, they did.
And I love that about Final Fantasy X. And I love that they do it in this game. And it just looks great on the PSP, so if you haven't tried it, definitely play Legend of Heroes Trails in the Sky. Watch Dustin's video on it. Great game.
I should get a PSP.
You should. It's
yeah.
These are probably not that expensive.
Yeah, probably not.
Yeah, they're pretty cheap these days.
I don't like talking about Trails in the Sky anymore because it breaks my heart.
I think it's going to come, Dustin. Don't worry.
With
Kickstarter and everything, like we're saying, there's no reason we can't get games over here now.
Well, I'm just wondering how we're going to get it. Are we going to get it on the PS3 as an HD? Are we going to get it on Steam? Are we going to get it on PSN? You know, where's it going to come?
Doesn't matter to you, really, would it? As long as you get it.
Well, I would really like it to be a PSP so I can, because apparently there's some way you can import your save from the first game to the second. Now,
would a Vita release in a box tempt you to buy a Vita more than Ys would?
More than Ys?
Yeah.
If whatever one comes out first, I'm getting a Vita.
Would get it, okay.
Yeah.
And I played one more. I'll move on real quick to what was it? The Judith game, yeah. I played an indie game, today, called Judith. You can download it on your PC. Don't know if it's available for Mac, but it's just pretty much if anyone's familiar with Dear Esther, it's just an adventure game like that where you're walking through an environment, a little interaction with opening doors and stuff, but this is a pixelated Minecraft kind of graphics adventure game about a cheating man and a cheating wife going to a haunted house to have their relations, and pretty much just some mysteries that unveil throughout the mansion. What happens is the guy loses his lover and is trying to find her, and in the midst of trying to do that, you'd have him flashbacks with another couple who actually lived in the mansion, and their tale of love, woe, and sadness, and it's described as like a creepy love kind of drama type thing. It only takes about 20 minutes to play through, so I recommend anyone who is into that kind of stuff. Great music, fun little, great story to this game. If anyone's interested, look it up. Judith, just download it. Take 20 minutes out of your day and play through it because it's an amazing, amazing story. And that's all I've been playing.
Mm-hmm.
That's all for me. 4 games. Oh, Guild Wars 2. I'm sorry, Guild Wars 2. I've been playing that since I got this PC. I'm a level 8. I forget what I am. Level 8 thief or rogue, and having a blast with that. Loving MMO games. I love playing with people, doing raids with people, getting in groups and killing people. Are you in any of that stuff, Paige?
Not really.
Okay,
she can't be on the podcast anymore. What about you, Dustin?
Oh no.
I have
He's not into it either.
Classically, I have not been into MMOs because I didn't know anyone I was playing with. But now that I've got a YouTube community here,
Yes.
That's true.
it's something that I want to look into. But at the same time, my laptop doesn't run high-end games. I only
Same.
have a silver Xbox 360 account. PS3, I don't think you have to pay to play on PS3. And of course, when Dragon Quest X comes out, I'm going to be looking to people to quest with.
That could be the one that brings Dustin in, everybody.
I know.
So
I've
let's
never been
hope
MMO
it comes
person.
up here. They're fun games to me. Like when I was playing WoW, there's never been an experience yet for me still like doing a 25-man raid into a dungeon that takes 4 hours to clear, and you got to have such teamwork and everything. It's an amazing experience to go through. So much fun.
I feel like if I got into MMOs, I would never come back. I think that's another reason.
That's the good thing about with this game. It's easy. So far, I'm not like hooked on it. I've had it for a while now, and I've only played it for out of like 4 hours out of a week, and it's not really addicting. It's easy to walk away from, and yeah, if you're bad at getting addicted to something, then MMOs aren't your thing because you will get. I was hooked on WoW for like 2.5, 3 years, and I loved it, but it will suck a lot of your time away from you.
Yeah.
But anyways, that is officially all for me. So you can go ahead, Dustin.
Okay. Let's see. What am I playing? I played. Finally finished Kingdom Hearts: Birth by Sleep.
Yes.
And I don't. I don't know how to talk about the Kingdom Hearts series because on the one hand, when I'm talking about like the actual Kingdom Hearts story, I really enjoy that. But then when I get to the Disney part of it, it's like it never lives up to what I would want from the games.
Yeah, I didn't never got into that series.
Yeah. So
Really?
Because actually, Kingdom Hearts was the first PS2 game I ever owned. I still own it, but I don't know, it didn't do it for me.
yeah, Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2 I think are great, but it's just like I'm playing and then after playing Birth by Sleep, I'm now playing Dream Drop Distance. And this is clearly like a sort of love letter to the fans because it touches back on a lot of the previous games. You'll get chronicles that you can read that are a synopsis of the previous games. And I'm reading these excerpts from the original game, the original parts of the series, and I'm like, holy crap! This story makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. It's
Wow.
like when you start really piecing it together and looking at it as a whole, you're like, what the hell are they doing? And I used to think that Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2 Kingdom Hearts 1 has a very good story, a very simple story. And then you start throwing in Castle Oblivion, the Nobodies, the Dusks, and it's like everything explodes. So much
Were
so
the
that
13 ever mentioned in the first one?
no,
Is that what they are? Okay.
that came in with Chain of Memories.
Yeah.
And it's like the story has ballooned into this incomprehensible mess so much that like every game but Kingdom Hearts 1 deals with the story of Kingdom Hearts 2.
Weird. Okay.
We're still dealing with the story of
Hmm.
Kingdom Hearts 2. We haven't moved on from that. We're still trying to explain everything that happened. Because when I played Kingdom Hearts 2, I had no idea what the hell was going on. And then, then I played Chain of Memories. Then I played Birth by Sleep. Now I'm playing Dream Drop Distance. Things are starting to piece together. But it's like, do we really have to have, 6 games explain one game's story? So
No, you don't.
I'm getting
No,
really
that's not unnecessary.
yeah. So like I mean I like the series and I enjoy playing the games, but when people get on here and like start talking about how Kingdom Hearts is the greatest series ever, it's a great series. No, it's not. It makes no sense. But that being said, I had a good time with Birth by Sleep. I'm having a good time with Dream Drop Distance, except for one thing, and that's the Dream Drop system. Basically what it is, I don't know if any of you guys have played Dream Drop Distance.
No.
Okay.
No, I haven't yet.
Okay, in Birth by Sleep, you play as there's 3 characters and you play as them individually throughout their storyline. In Dream Drop, you play as Sora and Riku, and you're constantly switching between the two. And you can switch between the two at any time by hitting the pause button and then going into the menu. But what what really drives me nuts about this is that your playtime as each character is timed. So whenever you start playing as Sora, you have a countdown to how much time you can play as Sora before you have to switch over to Riku.
Whoa, really?
That's
Yes. And where this really sucks, and I've literally reverted back to an 8-year-old child punching the floor playing this game, is when you're
That's still
fighting
what I do.
is when you're fighting bosses. And it's like, because boss battles in Kingdom Hearts are sometimes really hard, and you whittle down this boss to almost nothing, and then all of a sudden you drop out and you start as Riku. Okay? So then you play as Riku for a while, or you switch right back to Sora, whatever you want to do. But when you switch back to Sora, that boss has full strength.
Oh no.
Oh, that's the
Yeah.
worst.
It fucking sucks. There's no two ways about it. It fucking sucks. And for some reason, like I've only gotten through 4 worlds, so about 10 hours in, and I played the Tron world, which is Tron Legacy. And I don't know what you guys think about the movie Tron Legacy, but that was like one of the most awesome Kingdom Hearts levels ever. But man,
I'm so glad you said that.
But man, when you get to those end bosses as both Sora and Riku, they are bitches. I mean, like, it's a good thing that a 3DS costs over $100. Let's put it that way. Because I was about ready to toss that thing across the room.
That's
mean,
what
yeah,
happens with me and Donkey Kong.
It's brutal. Like, I remember back in the day spiking an NES controller off the floor. And that's what I wanted to do with my 3DS. So, been playing those 2. I threw in Growlancer Wayfarer of Time on the PS.
Can I ask you a quick question about Dream Drop Distance?
Sure.
Now, the PSP, like you probably had your gripes with the battle system too, how you had to reach to the D-pad, like you were saying, to switch your moves and stuff. More accessible in this one, or are they kind of keeping to the same type of combat as far as accessing them?
It's the same thing. You use the D-pad on the 3DS, but with the placement on the 3DS, I feel like I can control, because the D-pad and the circle pad are so close, I can keep my thumb on the circle pad and keep moving, and because my thumb's kind of big, I can press up on the D-pad to cycle through stuff.
And is it a Circle Pad program or no?
Yeah, you can use the Circle Pad Pro. The second Circle Pad is your camera, and then what's really awesome about it is, of course, the Circle Pad adds some bulk to it, so it makes your hands more comfortable, but you can use the ZR and the ZL as your targetings instead of L and R. So it fits much more comfortably in your hand. So
sounds like I'd have more fun playing that one than Birth by Sleep, because I did finish Terra Story and Birth by Sleep, but it was just uncomfortable playing it. I feel like it'd be more comfortable maybe playing this game. Aside
from the Dream Drop system, I am actually enjoying this one infinitely more than Birth by Sleep, and I actually really like Birth by Sleep. I mean, I was talking to Aerodynamish. He messaged me on one of my videos talking about I was talking about Birth by Sleep, and he was talking about how really if you want to get into the Kingdom Hearts series, you need to play 1, 2, Birth by Sleep, and then Dream Drop Distance. Those are like the 4 main storylines. Yeah. And I agree with that. Although I think you really do kind of you at least need to read Chain of Memories, like read a synopsis before you go into Kingdom Hearts 2, so you're not lost. But anyway.
So you think it's worth it for me to maybe recheck them out, I guess? I don't know.
I don't know, because on the one hand, how long ago did you play it? Like when it first came out?
Yeah, it's been like at least 10 years.
It's been 10 years. I would almost say maybe just sometime when you're just like looking for something to kill some time, throw it in and just kind of see how you feel about it. Because I feel there's such a weird thing with Kingdom Hearts. Like on the one hand, I feel like when it's doing the Kingdom Hearts story, there's a wonderful darkness to it and a wonderful theatricality to it. and then when it goes into like the Disney worlds, it's kids' gloves.
That's when I was totally lost, because I remember the very start of the first Kingdom Hearts. I was like, oh, this is really interesting, and then all of a sudden it went to the Disney World, and I was like, oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
Then it just lost me.
Because it's like, oh, we have this great story that we're working on here, and then you're going to go in and hang out with Aladdin, and we're going to
yeah, see, that just like ruins it for me.
Yeah, we're going to completely drop this story while you're hanging out with Aladdin and playing a brief synopsis of the movie, and then at the end of the level when you beat the boss, we're going to bring the story back. You know, it's kind of awkward.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I would suggest like just throwing it in and trying it. And just kind of seeing how you feel about it, and if you don't,
yeah, I might change my mind. I don't know.
Yeah, because some people really love Kingdom Hearts.
Oh, I know.
And then there's people like me who like it, but realize it's kind of eh. And then there's people who just flat out hate it.
Yeah, we'll see where I stand.
Yeah.
And from what I heard, a lot of people said if you hadn't played the series, they say you should start with Birth by Sleep because it's kind of a prequel. But I heard like it's until Dream Drop Distance came out, it had the best battle system. So I don't know what it would be like playing Birth by Sleep, then going back to Kingdom Hearts 1, where the battle system isn't as good.
Yeah.
But I love the Kingdom Hearts 1 battle system because you could do summons and stuff in that. I don't think you can do that in Birth by Sleep, can you?
Well, I mean, to be honest, when I played Birth by Sleep, I just like breezed through it. I didn't.
Yeah.
I didn't mess around with any. Yeah, I didn't mess around with any of the extra stuff. I barely touched any of the extra stuff. I was like, I just want to play through the story. I don't care about getting the secret ending because I can just look it up on YouTube, and I just want to get through this.
Yeah.
And I make it sound like I didn't like it, you know, when I say I want to get through it. But the way with JRPGs nowadays, they throw a bunch of extra stuff in there that's really just filler.
Oh, I know.
You know, it's like no. I just want to play through the storyline. I don't need to have like a little pet creature that I raise. I don't need that. If I want that, I'll go play Pokemon. You know, and that's another thing that Dream Drop Distance has. It has kind of like a Pokemon creature development system in it with these Dream Eaters, and it's just like, I don't want to waste time with this, but you have to because they like boost your stats and stuff like that. So.
Well, see, that's like one of the things, here I go straight off topic again real quick, is Final Fantasy 13-2 isn't probably as deep as what the system is in Dream Drop Distance, but I really love going out, like, hunting a rare monster and adding it to my party group in the game. But it's not like I had to feed it, or I don't know what you got to do in this game, but to take care of it, but...
There's, like, a little mini-game you go into, and it uses the touchpad, and you have to, like, pet it. And I'm not even joking you. You pet this little creature on the touchpad, and then another way you boost its stats is you play like little mini games with it, where you have to bounce balloons back at it, and it's just like I don't want to waste my time with this. I really don't, you know. But all
right, I'll let you move on to your next game now.
Yeah. Threw Growlancer Wayfarer of Time in for a little bit, and just wasn't feeling it. It's got a very PS1 feel to it, and when I threw it in and saw the graphics, I mean, sometimes, like, it has anime cutscenes, and those look really nice, but when you're actually playing the game, you kind of look at it and you're like, this is a PSP game in 2012, really? Which, I mean, graphics aren't everything, but it's still, like, when you see these character models, and they're that pixelated, you're like, whoa, whoa. And the battle system is kind of reminiscent of Trails in the Sky, in that it's, a mix of classic turn-based and sort of a strategy with positioning and things like that. So, I mean, it's kind of interesting, but at the same time, I'm sitting there playing it, I'm like, I'd rather be playing something else. You know, I just wasn't feeling it. So I put it back on the shelf. I'll touch it up again sometime, but I don't know. Just from what I played of it just a little bit, a lot of people on YouTube says just kind of an average game, and just from like 3 hours or 3 or 4 or 5 hours, however long I played it, I kind of agree with that, so I put it back on the shelf.
So for being the go-out game for the PSP, it was a little disappointing, eh?
Yeah, you know. It would have been better if the go-out game was second chapter, but...
There you go.
What are they going to do about that?
Real quick, since you mentioned it again, to go off the topic, you said Battle of Positioning and Growlancer, and I mentioned how I didn't have to do any positioning yet in the first Trails in the Sky. I will?
You will.
Okay.
Oh, God.
Just making sure.
Yeah, I know you're not a cussing man, Steven, but you're gonna cuss at that screen. It gets really hard. I mean, yeah.
Cool.
It
All
gets-
right, you can continue again.
Been playing Mortal Kombat Complete Edition for the PS3, and
Awesome.
I've really been enjoying that. But because of the story mode, I was just at work, and I was reading Mortal Kombat stories on Wikipedia just because I was killing time. And I was like, God, I really want to play Mortal Kombat. And I was like, oh, the new game's out, and it's supposed to have a really good storyline. So I went out and got that, and I really like it. But there's one thing that drives me nuts about it, and that's the character models. Like, everyone is, like, super buff. All the women's have, like, tits clear out to California.
We
And
all look like that, Dustin. Come on, that's how we all look.
I know, and I mean, I know it's Mortal Kombat, I know it's over the top, and the thing that really drives me nuts, and I might get a little offensive here, but Liu Kang, okay, the character model of Liu Kang. I'm sorry, but if he's supposed to be the hero of Mortal Kombat that saves us all, he should not look like he's cross-eyed. I mean, he looks like a Looney Tune character. He looks like
Oh man.
he's sitting there. It's just he looks dumb. In every possible meaning of the word dumb, he looks dumb. Like he should be like, "Hi, I'm Liu Kang. Let's fight." You know.
Wow.
I hate that.
But is it not the best story mode though ever in a fighting game?
In a fighting game, yes.
Yes, it's fantastic.
But there's also some things that because my wife really likes Mortal Kombat, and she was watching me play it. Uh-oh, there's the cough again. No. There's some things that really kind of drove me crazy about it, which is like there was one scene where like Jax and Johnny Cage fought, and it was literally like, I don't like the way you look. Let's fight, you know. And I was like, is this story mode really that good when it's stuff like this? But there are
The filler fights, yeah.
right, but there are moments where you're like, oh, this is nice. But so I've been kind of working through the story mode there. I'm somewhere in the storyline of Mortal Kombat 2.
Okay.
Does it just go to 3 and then kind of stop, or does it go all the way through all the like?
I forget how many it goes through. I meant to ask you though, have you gotten to any of the like 2-on-1 where you're like, oh crap, and that was like a surprise to you? Or all of a sudden another person came out and you're like half health. You run into any of those situations yet?
Those fights are so cheap. Because here's the thing. Because every fighter in that has a teleport move spams the hell out of it.
Yes, it will.
And like anytime I fight Ermac, I just know that I'm going to be yelling. So
That's because he's the best character in the game. But go ahead.
is Rain in the game?
I don't think so. I think just Noob Saibot.
Because I remember
I think that's the only one.
I remember back in the day of Mortal Kombat Trilogy of really using the hell out of Rain for some reason. But so I've been playing that. Been kind of playing through some things I just recently bought. Played some Gunstar Heroes. Really awesome game. Really awesome.
Yes.
Like worth the price to get. Which I think it's also on the Virtual Console on the Wii. So if you don't want to pay $20 for the cartridge, definitely look out for that. Very manic.
I downloaded it on Xbox Live. I think it's there too. You can get it for 400 points.
Okay.
So.
But for some reason, it reminds me of Mischief Makers, and I know they're both made by Treasure, but they're very kind of different games. But like when the character gets close enough to an enemy, you can throw the enemy, and it really reminded me of Mischief Makers for a second. Threw in Super Castlevania 4, played it a little bit, kind of really enjoyed it, and a lot of people on my video where I picked that up said, "Oh, it's my favorite Castlevania ever." And I was like, "Really?" Because there are better ones out there, namely Castlevania Castlevania X Rondo of Blood for the PC Engine. Now, I haven't bought a copy of this yet, but I did burn an ISO because the PC Engine it has no protection on it. You could play American games on it, you can burn ISOs and they work fine. So I was like, well, spend $80 on a game or just burn it and see if it's really that good. And let me tell you, Castlevania X Rondo of Blood is flat out, maybe not better than Symphony of the Night, but it's really friggin' close to Symphony of the Night.
Was that not remade for the PSP though?
It was remade for the PSP, but here's the deal. They redid the graphics, so it's like this horrible 2.5D graphics.
Okay.
I have no idea why they did this. I mean, the original version is on that UMD, but you have to unlock it.
Oh.
They should have never updated those graphics, because I'm telling you what, those old school sprite-based graphics in that game are mind-blowing. especially when you consider that it's the PC or the TurboGrafx. We'll just say the TurboGrafx running it. I mean, it's a TurboGrafx CD, but still, you're like, holy crap, you know.
And Paige, wasn't Castlevania, was that one of your games on that list you made?
Yep.
I thought it sounded familiar.
Yeah.
Well, to be fair,
I'll get to
Paige,
it.
like my first Castlevania was Symphony of the Night.
Okay.
And that was in 2001 when I got my PS2. So, I mean, even I'm not well versed in Castlevania, but since
No,
then,
that's cool. I'll get to it. It's
yeah,
one of
I
the
know,
things.
I know. But if you can on your Wii,
Yeah.
go onto the Virtual Console, go to the TurboGrafx, and download Rondo of Blood, Castlevania Rondo of Blood. It
Okay.
is phenomenal. So I've been messing around with that. And then I kind of been messing around with this indie, since Steven talked about some indie games. I've been messing around with this indie RPG on the PC, and it's actually on Steam Greenlight, whatever the hell that is. I haven't been able to figure out what Steam Greenlight is. But it's called Alpha Kamori, and it literally looks like an RPG that somebody made in RPG Maker. But
That's awesome.
yeah, but a lot of people are giving it some praise. I only downloaded the demo and only played it for a little bit just to make sure the demo worked. But I really want to get back into it because I really love the indie development scene, and I'm so desperately looking for my next To the Moon, you know. And I don't think I'm ever going to find another To the Moon because it's just that is like, Paige, I'm telling you what, if you haven't played To the Moon,
No.
go download it.
But
Okay.
that just reminded me I can play that now. I
You can-
need to do that.
You can play that now, Steven.
Yes.
It made me cry. Like,
I'm just looking it up here. It looks really cool.
yeah, okay, this is how it is. I mean, it's a story of like life and love and tragedy and things like that. When I got done with that game, I was crying. When I told my wife about it, I just told my wife about the storyline. She started bawling.
Okay.
So I mean,
Interesting.
it's like it really is. I think it's not a game so much more as it's an experience. And I think if you've lived your life in a certain way where you've made really difficult choices, it's one of those games that makes you think about the choices you've made in life, you know. So I would recommend everybody to check that out. But I'm so desperately looking for that. I'm always looking for a new indie game to play. And I don't think Alpha Kamori is going to get, you know, it's not going to be that, but it's still a fun little thing that, you know.
I was gonna ask. Yeah, I was gonna ask you. So I'm looking at it now, and they're actually on sale with it today for $2.99. I was wondering if it was gonna be worth it or not because it's about the kind of looks like Final Fantasy Dimension type graphics almost, but
Wait.
not quite there.
Alpha Kamori's on sale for $2.99
$2.99.
from the site or on Steam.
The developer, I guess, BigFishGames.com.
Oh, okay.
Get the full version for $2.99 only today.
Okay. Well, I know what I'm going to be doing when this podcast is over because I actually really enjoyed what I played on the demo, and
So it is worth the $3.
It's come on, Steven. You can't even get a cup of coffee for $3.
I don't drink coffee, so there you go.
I
Anyways,
don't
it's
think so either.
You can't even get a bottle of water for $3.
true.
So, have I been playing anything other than that though? Oh yes. The final thing. On the iPad, this was just released not too long ago. I played a little bit of Lunar Silver Star Story Touch, and this is a port of the PS1 version of Lunar for the iPad. And unfortunately, you know, with the digital D-pad, the digital D-pad in this game sucks. But what's cool about it is if you've ever played like a Baldur's Gate on the PC, you know how like in those old PC RPGs you just click on a point and then they walk there. That's how you can control your party in this, and it works really well for the most part. There's still some issues with the controls, but they're constantly releasing updates for it. So I think eventually at one point it's going to get very silky smooth. But I mean, if you don't want to pay the money to get, because pretty much all of the Lunar games are expensive, even the new PSP version. It can get kind of pricey to find. But if you want to experience Lunar and you have an iOS device, I would suggest getting this because I think it's only like $7 or $8, and that's way cheaper than you're ever going to find any of the other Lunar games. So,
Awesome.
yeah. So
that's it for you?
Yes.
And actually, when you put in that code, it takes it all the way down to $2.09. So there you go.
Passing
I'm
the
definitely
save.
going to check out To the Moon, though. It looks really cool. I'm just checking it out here.
Yeah, the only thing I'm going to tell you though is it looks like an old school 16-bit RPG,
Yeah.
but it's more like a visual novel.
Okay.
Okay, but they do make one really awesome sort of 16-bit RPG joke in it, and I really did laugh at it when it happened. You'll see it when you play it, but
Okay. No, I'm definitely going to look that up. That looks really cool.
it was my 2011 game of the year.
Okay.
Yeah, so.
Now, are you into visual novels and stuff like that, Paige? Have you played anything like those or anything?
Not a whole lot, but I'm familiar with the concept. It sounds really cool,
Okay.
so the pictures are already intriguing me. So.
And
Awesome.
it does have a really awesome soundtrack, and you can
That's good.
you can buy the soundtrack from the website somewhere there, but it's a digital only thing.
No, that's okay, I guess.
Yeah, so. But yes,
I think that'll wrap up our games you've been playing recently then.
yeah, we're only
A lot
an
of
hour.
good titles there.
We're only an hour in. We're finally through the games we've been playing. That's okay.
Yes, so we'll finally get into some of the grunt of our topics in here. And first, we kind of wanted to start it off since Paige is a female gamer. We kind of wanted to get her perspective of, she started getting into gaming in the Super Nintendo area, and that still is to your day your favorite console. You say, right,
I think
Paige?
so, yeah.
Yeah, and so I mean, I never really met any female gamers back when I was in the early '90s and stuff in school, talking about playing video games and stuff like that. So just kind of getting a feel like what made you get into gaming at that age, like what brought you to it, and how come it just stuck with you for so long? How'd you become the gamer you are?
All right, well, okay, my parents bought a Super Nintendo for me. I have no idea why they bought it, because it wasn't Christmas or my birthday.
Didn't even
And-
ask for it. You didn't even know about games or ask for it?
No,
or
I was too
bring
young.
it to you?
So
Okay.
yeah, I was too young. So it was just this thing, and like it's weird because I actually remember the exact moment, everything, of when F-Zero was the first game that I put in. So it's technically my first game ever. And yeah, I don't know. They bought it for me, and I just remember thinking it was really cool. I think F-Zero was the first game that I ever actually played, and I think probably the second or third. I'm trying to remember if they bought a game with it, but it either would have been Super Mario All-Stars, or I'm trying to think of, it may have been Super Mario World, but either way, those were like the first games I ever played. And it just clicked instantly. Like, this is awesome. I love it. And like when I was at school, like I was a big tomboy in like elementary and stuff, so I pretty much hung out with guys at recess. Lots of girls, I don't know, girls were not into it. There wasn't that many girls at school that played video games. Not that many. None that I remember, like, really, like, if I was different girls that I was friends with, they didn't play video games. So it wasn't, I don't know, it just wasn't a big thing. But I pretty much got into video games because my parents bought me with a Super Nintendo, and kind of just went from there. And I just loved it. It's all I did. Like, when I think about, like, being a kid, it's video games. That's the only thing I did.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I don't know.
Did other girls get on you for liking games or anything? Or, well, you were hanging with the boys, so I guess it really didn't matter.
Kinda. It was sort of considered to be a bit odd. So, it was sort of like I don't know if I want to say it was like a turnoff, like, to girls, where it's like, oh, like, it's just different. It was like, other girls didn't really get into it. I mean, there was girls that played video games because it was sort of like a household console kind of thing, or they had an N64 at home or something, but in general, it was like not the way I played them. So I don't know. It was like pretty much all I did, and for girls at school, it was like it was at home. So if they wanted to play it, they could. But for me, it was like, no, that is like my main hobby. That's all I do. Like, I literally my dad would go and rent a game for me at Blockbuster, and I knew he was getting it. And this is really, really geeky, but I'd actually write down like the serial number on the like Blockbuster case so I could continue the save. So I knew I was getting
pick it up
that
again.
game.
That's awesome.
I would do that like on, I don't know, especially like if it was either like Earthbound or, I don't know, I'm trying to think of like maybe Super Mario RPG or something where it really mattered. Even if it could have been something like Donkey Kong where it was like, you rent a game and then they'd be at World 1 and you're so mad because you were at World 5 or something. So I always would write it down so I knew I'm getting the exact same cartridge. Yeah. So it was mostly guys. I mostly hung out with guys. So like at recess, it was just sort of Paige and all these boys. So I remember like grade 3 and grade 4 and stuff. It was all... I remember actually like we'd have to go outside and it was winter and girls would go out and I don't know, all hang out, and there'd be some boys playing, like, sports and stuff, but there was, like, this group of us who would just sit against the wall near the door with, like, all our Game Boys, and that's it. That's all I would do.
And not to fast forward to the future real quick, but what's it like now? Because, I mean, you're definitely not a tomboy now. I mean, Paige is an attractive woman, and what's it like when you go into a game store and they're like, what is this girl doing in here? And... She doesn't seem like she should be gaming.
I'll tell you exactly what it's like. It's like it goes exactly like this. Hey, John, look, it's one of those. What do you call them? Ladies. Exactly what it's like.
Oh man, I don't know. I sort of like I find now. Oh, sorry, what? Go ahead.
Or do you not really notice anything? Is it?
I notice it sometimes. It depends what it is. If I'm going into like I don't know EB Games and I'm buying like. I don't know, very stereotypical stuff. Like, if I'm going in there and buying, like, Mario Party or something, then there is no second look. But if I go in there and buy, like, a first-person shooter, then there's kind of a look. Or if I'm in a store and I'm talking about something retro, then there's a look. Like, how would I know what that is?
Yeah.
So, then it's sort of like, oh, what? It's sort of like a confusing thing.
See, I think it's...
Go ahead, Dustin.
I was going to say, I think it's very interesting that we have you on here this episode and we're talking about this actual topic because I just got my most recent issue of Electronic Gaming Monthly in, and I don't know if you guys have that up in Canada or not. But,
probably.
But it's all about like women in video gaming and how there's like there's this sort of stereotype that like all you play is like Mario parties and that kind of nonsense.
Oh yeah.
And that like I was reading articles about these women who play first-person shooters, and about just how like awful it is for them. Like it's bad for us guys, you know, you get on there and being called like fags and things like that. But like women gamers in these games are like just getting destroyed verbally, and like I'm reading this and I'm like it can't because I don't online game.
No, me neither.
And I was going to say, because it's really for that reason. Because I mean, I've had a little bit of this on my channel in of itself, which I know how to deal with it. I know how to deal with it, but it's also kind of fanning the flames a little bit. But the trick is to do it better than they do it. But I've faced a little bit of this just on my channel, and I'm like, holy crap! I can't imagine trying to sit down and enjoy a game and having people, scream this shit at me.
Oh yeah, it's pretty bad from being an online gamer, and if there's a girl in the lobby, it's like the first thing is like, whoa, there's a girl in here, and can you show us your boobs through the internet? And I'm like, what is this? But they're a bunch of little kids.
Yeah,
and that's what it is, and that's why there's a thing called a mute button now. We can just mute everybody, so it doesn't matter.
I guess that's what I was going to ask you. Like, do you ever face that kind of bullshit stupidity?
Well, not really. I mean, I don't online game, really, so I'm not ever in that world, so I don't notice it there. I have noticed it sometimes at work, where people will say things like, oh, I didn't think you would know what that is, and it's like, wow, that's so rude.
Yeah.
There haven't been any comments on your YouTube channel or anything?
Just the odd comment on there that's a little bit strange. I don't know. I just kind of find them funny. To be honest, it's like, oh, okay.
How come no one ever says in our videos, Dustin, like, you're hot? They only say it to, like, girls. Why don't they say it to us?
I'm waiting for the day when I get a comment that says, show me your boobs.
Yes, that'd be great.
I have not had that comment, though, yet.
And then they're going to, trust me, they're going to rue that day. But
you asked for it. Here it is.
Here it is.
Yeah, I kind of remember, like, the video games thing was sort of an outcast choice. Maybe? I guess that's I don't know if that's a good term, but sort of like, you're different somehow because that's what you would rather do. I don't know.
Yeah, because when I was in elementary school, I mean, there was a difference between what you talked about like at school and on the playground versus what you were doing when you were at somebody's house.
Okay.
Like case in point, when we were on recess, it was all like we were talking about sports and that kind of stuff. Which as a kid, I could, even now I could care less about sports. Hate sports. Don't care. Stupid. But I faked it very well in elementary school. And when we'd go over to like sleepovers at friends' house, it's like, let's bring out the Sega Genesis and play Primal Rage. You know. So there was a separation of how you really were and what you presented to the rest of the, you know what I mean? So.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't think I ever encountered that. It was more like I had my Game Boy and it was like, I don't remember any other girls having their Game Boy at school or their Game Gear. It was sort of just me. There was another girl, like I had a close friend in like when I was grade 5, 6 kind of, and she was big into games, but same thing, she was sort of considered like odd. I think that's the weird part about it. Now I don't think it's as weird if I say like, yeah, I play video games, because I feel like it's such a, I don't know, it seems like every household has some kind of console, whether it's like a Wii or whatever. So it's not like if I say play video games, it's not weird, but it's maybe the titles I bring up that makes it weirder.
Yeah.
Because they expect me to be playing certain games.
Yeah, that's the thing, because like my wife will sit here and play Angry Birds for hours. And then she'll go downstairs.
I actually don't like Angry Birds.
I don't either. But then she'll go downstairs. Then she'll go downstairs and throw Mortal Kombat 4 in on the N64 and like scream at the screen for about an hour, and then she's good for a while on games. But I think I do think in one way female gamers are much more accepted nowadays.
Yeah, it is.
But I think on the other way, there's still, I mean, especially when you online game and you have to deal with like 12-year-olds, spewing shit that they don't even know what they're talking about. It's a whole nother thing, and I don't know what the solution to that is.
Which I will say that's only in some communities, like the Call of Duty community and stuff. Because when I was playing WoW, it was very civil. We weren't like that in World of Warcraft. So there you go.
I guess the fighting game community is the same way.
Well, fighting game, I watch a lot of. I'm really into watching like Evo. I just watched Canada Cup today. USA, we didn't win. Oh well, for Street Fighter. But anyways, I'm really into watching all that stuff, and I'm waiting to see, like, because there's not a lot of pro female gamers in that sport. But when they are, Dustin, they actually are pretty welcome, like at the tournaments and stuff. They're not getting harassed or anything.
Yeah.
But I'm waiting to see like some more like top gaming females get in there and do their thing, kick some butt. But there's not many.
No.
So, Paige, have you ever put somebody completely in their place? Like some guy was talking talking out of his ass about video games, and you're like, actually, and you completely, because I think that'd be like, because they're never, I'm a guy, we're never expecting, like there was one day at work, when I worked at Old Navy, this girl came in, and I was talking about Tool, the band Tool, and I blanked on a song title, and I was like, it's the one that, and I started, saying some of the lyrics. She completely, like, I mean, and this is like one of those very not like a rocker chick, but like a very, like, I guess the word I'm looking for is a preppy chick.
Okay.
And she's like, oh, that's eulogy. And I was like, my eyes just got the size of like plates. And I'm like, you have just like completely made my day. So is that situation, have you ever come across that?
That comes up more with music, actually.
Oh, yeah?
Because, I don't know, I work at a music store, and I'll get people come in, and I get actually a lot of people that'll bring up something to do with vinyl, and they'll go, oh, I bet you don't even know what that is, and it's like, oh, man. So that's frustrating, and then I can go on, or they'll make some comment that I'm like, oh, actually.
Are you looking for 33 1/3, 45s, or 78s?
Yeah, I don't know, like, I have people, they'll be like, oh, you probably haven't even heard of them, and I'll be like, actually, I have, I've actually seen them live, or that'll come up, or I'll be like, well, blah, 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 and they're like, oh, it's really awkward. I did have that, because we used to sell video games, and that happened with a guy, and I think he was asking something to do with Uncharted, and I was like, oh, yeah, and I was like, I like this one better. I don't remember if it was like he was comparing the first one to the second one, and I was like, he's like, how would you even know that? I was like, are you serious? And I totally called him out.
I've played the game, sir.
Yeah, I don't know, that it doesn't, that with gaming, it's never really happened so much, but
Hmm.
I don't know, it's more just there's a feeling, I don't know, sort of a vibe, like, I'll be in a store and I'll be, like, looking at something that's not stereotypically, like, I should be looking at. I don't know if that's wrong, but you know what I mean.
I
And
know
then
what you mean.
I'll sort of get a look like, I don't know, how would I even know that? Or doesn't necessarily, even retro stuff, like, even if I, at the time, could have been playing it, it's like, well, why would I even know about that? That's way above my age or whatever, I don't know. So it comes up, I don't know, not too much.
I want to know why I can hear my keyboard and I'm nowhere near it with my microphone in
I
the
don't know,
headset.
because every time you touch that keyboard, it's like a Budweiser commercial during the Super Bowl, and all these horses are going across the screen.
I even put my mic on mute and I heard it. I was like, how is this happening? But
I don't know what you're doing. over there,
anyways,
Steve.
sorry to interrupt. I was trying to see who won Canada Cup today, like, because I stopped watching after America got eliminated. So sorry.
Whatever.
But anyways,
Have you guys seen those, I think, they're the 3DS commercials that Nintendo's doing?
Yes.
See,
that's
those
the one
I'm
I
not
brought
a
up last
fan
week. That's what I
Those
brought
are
up
a
last
little bit mad.
podcast.
Let me ask you that. Yeah. Let me ask you this, because I've seen the one with the girl from Glee, and I've seen the one with the that Olympic.
Gabrielle?
There you go.
Gab-
Yeah. Has there been one with guys in it?
No, I don't think so. I haven't
Okay.
seen the Glee one. I've seen the girl from Modern Family and Gabby, the gymnast. And I don't know, like, the one with Sarah Hyland, who's from Modern Family, it's like, what does she say? I'm not a gamer. I'm
not a gamer.
I'm a stylist. And I don't like that, because it's like, of course you're not a gamer. You're a girl.
You're a paid
this
spokeswoman.
Profiling, yeah.
That's true.
But
But yeah, I feel like I know they're marketing it at that kind of girl gamer, but I always get frustrated because that's what they associate with me. It's like,
Right.
oh yeah, I'm totally playing that game where I put party dresses on dolls. It's like, no.
Well, I was doing it because I was going to ask you when we were talking about Kingdom Hearts, because I was like, man, it would seem like the type of game that might bring a female gamer into an RPG.
Oh, totally.
So I was really surprised when you said you didn't dig it when you played it. I was like,
No,
wow.
I love Disney. Like, it's almost just like an odd combination where it's like, I feel like it should be separate, because honestly, I'm a huge Disney fan. I like all the movies, but when I watch it, it's like, or when I play it, felt weird to me. Like, when the Disney part came in, I just thought, I don't know if I like this anymore. So I'm willing to try it again, but at the time I didn't like it.
So Super Nintendo started it and kept you hooked. What was the
Yeah,
next
pretty
system
much,
after
like-
the Super Nintendo?
Yeah, like Nintendo 64 came out, and then that was a big deal. Like, I couldn't even believe it because of the graphics. And that's when I sort of put Super Nintendo on hold, because it was all about the N64. And then after that era of games, I switched to PS2. And I didn't get the GameCube. I got PS2 instead, and that was like a huge deal. Like, oh no, I'm betraying Nintendo. But
I was gonna say, what was that like? I mean, you're
that was
moving
kind of
from
weird, I have to
Nintendo.
say. I rented a GameCube, and I rented a PS2, and I kind of made the decision. And I actually kind of made the decision based off Final Fantasy, to be honest. Because I saw the commercials, and I'd never played a Final Fantasy game, and it just looked like I couldn't even believe that was a video game. Like, it blew my mind. I was like, wow, that's a video game? Like, just the story factor, I didn't know what was going on. So I ended up choosing the PS2 because I'd heard, like, they're not going to make Final Fantasy games for the GameCube, really, the main titles anyway. And so even though I never played a Final Fantasy, for some reason that was like a big factor, and I knew I could play the old ones, the PS1 ones, on the PS2, so that was a big deal. And then I've always sort of gone from the next console to the next console. Like, after PS2, I bought a PS3 pretty quick, so I don't know. Always get the new ones.
actually, when you were talking about, you talked about two things. You talked about N64 and Final Fantasy, and it made me remember something. Have you guys ever seen the Final Fantasy VII tech demo that was done
Yes.
on the N64?
Yes, I have seen it.
Okay,
No,
because I remember, Steven, you never seen that?
never seen it.
Yeah, you should take a look
It's on
at it because
YouTube somewhere.
it's pretty interesting because they take like Final Fantasy VI characters and they were just trying to work out how they would do it on the N64, and really it looks like. Have you played Wild Arms?
I haven't actually played the first one.
Okay.
It's on my list.
I played the PSP one, Wild Arms XL.
Okay. If you look at graphics of like the battle system of Wild Arms 1, that's what Final Fantasy 7 would have looked like on the N64.
Interesting.
It's really well. I remember seeing that when I was a kid, and I was like, "Oh, the next Final Fantasy is going to be on the N64." And then I read something in Nintendo Power. They said NX is making Dragon Warrior 7 for the N64, and I was like, "I got to get an N64." And then I bought an N64, and all my dreams were crushed.
Well, logically, you'd think
Yeah.
it would go to N64.
Yeah. So, but I think well, maybe not. It's a big game. I was gonna say I think maybe Dragon Warrior 7 could run on the N64.
Didn't you say that one was sort of it wasn't your favorite?
Yeah, I would say out of all the Dragon Warrior games or Dragon Quest games, sorry, that is probably my least favorite.
Okay.
It's there's a lot of stuff to do in it, but eventually you're just gonna be like, I don't care anymore.
Yeah, yeah.
It's just kind of bland. Whereas I feel like there's a lot of characterization with the other games. Even
okay.
the old NES ones.
Interesting.
Now, I have a question to stir the pot.
Oh.
Yeah.
Do you think since gaming is becoming so popular and there are so many women these days playing games that maybe it's hurting some games in a way, like we're getting a lot of this shovelware stuff that's trying to cater to women, or maybe stuff is being dumbed down. They think they need to dumb a game down for some reason for a woman to play. But do you think it is hurting things?
Yeah, well, for me, it bothers me because, like, when I was a little kid, I feel like that kind of stuff it wasn't as prominent. Like, I'm sure, yeah, there are, like, really crappy Super Nintendo games and stuff, but there wasn't it's not the same. There's so much, like, third-party, like, crap that is so bad, and they gear it towards little girls, and it's sort of sad because I feel like, parents or whoever are totally going to see that and then buy it for them and not think that they may have the actual mental capabilities of playing something else. Because, like, honestly, I played Earthbound when I was really little, and I didn't understand everything about it, but I totally did understand most of it. Like, I actually was working the battle system, and I feel like, I don't know, I don't think I could give that to a 5-year-old right now. I think it wouldn't happen. They wouldn't get it, because they're so used to playing other things like Nintendogs or something.
I wouldn't be able to give it to my 12-year-old self and figure out an RPG. So kudos to you for figuring it out when you were so little.
Because I remember the stories of things, and I don't know, it made sense to me, but maybe kids now, I don't know. I want to do a video on gaming generations. That's on my upcoming list of things to do, because I find it really interesting of sort of the generation now, like teenagers now, because I don't know. I'm always iffy because I'm really interested in the whole like Gen X, Gen Y, Gen Z thing, and it's like, I don't know.
Wait, have we declared another generation already?
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Or Z, however you want to say it.
Okay,
it's people born 1992 to 2010.
I guess that makes sense.
What it actually I read in a textbook. It said that some of them vary, but that seems to be the sort of 1975 to 91, I think, is Generation Y, and then it kind of keeps going back. But I find that this one, they bother me.
I often wonder, and I'm going to kind of go off the rails here a little bit, but I often wonder about kids today, because it seems like my generation, and I might be speaking out of turn, Paige, you can correct me if I'm wrong here, because you're significantly younger than I am. But it seems like my generation was the last generation that was born with a healthy amount of fear of the world. And
I agree.
But in that fear, I think there was also a sense of wonder that I look at these kids with their phones, and they always are on them, and it just seems like they're so jaded to everything, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Whereas, like, the way I remember my childhood is like watching an episode of Pete and Pete, The Adventures of Pete and Pete, where everything's really exaggerated. Yes. And you made up sort of like local legends in your town, and everyone sort of believed it, you know. And I don't know if that kind of stuff goes on anymore, you know.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I have more like I know that I'm the sort of tail end of Generation Y, but I have way more in common with people born in the early 80s or late 70s than I do with people born in the late 90s. Way more. In fact, I even find people who are like 4 years younger than me, there actually is a significance where they don't know. They missed something. It's really strange. It's interesting. But yeah, I find kids today are like, I don't know. I have my cousin is in, she's 15. She's in grade 10, and I just can't talk to her. It's so hard. And I always thought, well, when she's a teenager, I'll be able to talk to her. But I actually can't. It's really strange.
Well, you know what was funny is you were talking about Dustin. After me going through school and stuff, and the classes I had in certain grades, and the kind of math I had in 3rd and 4th grade, and seeing my cousins and everyone grow up now, seeing the classes they're taking at certain ages, part of me was like, man, they're learning some stuff pretty quick these days. Yet for some reason they seem a little dumb. They seem dumber for some reason. I don't know. Kids don't seem as smart as me. It's as smart these days as they were.
No,
back.
I agree with you.
That's because they don't have to think. It's all on their phone.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
And like a part of me was trying to not, like I was trying to be sort of like devil's advocate and be like, well, you know, people who were, I don't know, when I had a Game Boy, people who were in, say, their 40s or something may have been looking at me like as a little kid thinking, oh, look at all the technology they have. And it's like, I sometimes wonder, is it any different? But to me it is different because it was so, I'm the kind of person where I like one thing, I can't have, like I have an iPhone and I have an iPod. I don't want to have my music on the iPhone. I have my iPod for that. That's just me. And I have like, I don't want to, I have my DS and 3DS for like handheld. I don't want to have it all in one, but I feel like they're just like the phone generation. It's weird. It's weird to me. I can't imagine having a phone when I'm like 6 years old.
Yeah. It's like me when people are, I tell people I still buy CDs. They're like, geez, Grandpa.
I know, it's like, it's not that weird though.
Yeah.
And to bring up another thing you said, Dustin, about it seemed like a more sense of fear when we were growing up, and me trying not to mix religion and everything with our podcast and stuff, but being a religious man and seeing how the more access and stuff we have to things today, how stuff like that is even on decline, and people just aren't afraid of anything anymore. New stuff is being made up and formed, and it's just. Yeah. No one's afraid of anything, like you said, anymore.
Well, it's just like
good to go.
It just seemed like, you know, I don't know. There was just such a sense of wonder when I was a kid because, like, you'd find, like, I remember my godparents had this property, and on it was like a abandoned farm, and we would explore that, and we'd like it was kind of spooky. It was kind of scary. And I just feel like kids today be like, let's burn this place down, you know?
Oh, totally.
It's like, let's just light this shit on fire, you know? And I just don't know. I
was just going to say, I don't know if you've noticed this, but there's this weird thing I've come across where you see kids who, I actually don't know how old they are. It's so weird because of the way they're dressed. They're maybe like 8 to 11 years old, but they're all dressed like they're thugs. Have you seen this? It's really weird. And I don't know. And I feel like the exact same thing. They'd see something like that, and they'd be like, "Oh yeah, let's totally burn this place down," or like spray paint it instead of like
spray paint our gang sign on it. Yeah.
Just like I would see something like that and see an adventure.
Yeah.
It is funny because you brought that up, and I just worked some special overtime this past week where I had to do like police work at a high school football game, and seeing how the kids and stuff dressed at these high school football games. Where I couldn't believe it. I was looking at another officer beside me. I was like, because he's with these kids every day. I'm like, is this what the style is these days? Everyone had a hat looking like Justin Bieber, backwards like to the side or something.
Like tube sock kind of hat.
Oh my god.
Oh my goodness, it was so funny. I was like, and you have to have which I'm not. Paige has great style, so you can give anyone fashion tips, but dudes who wear layers upon layers upon layers upon layers of clothes. I'm like, I'm just old-fashioned, a t-shirt and some jeans, and I'm good to go, maybe a collared shirt. But these people are wearing so many layers of clothing, I don't know how you're moving, just to make a fashion statement, because you might have yellow in your collar, a little line. I don't know. It's insane. I don't know what people think.
Yeah.
Not to harp on this topic for much longer, because there's a reason.
Yes, we are running out of time, and we got another subject.
Out of time, but there is a reason why I titled the last episode "Grumpy Old Men." But you brought up Justin Bieber, and I just have to say I know exactly what is wrong with this generation. Is that when I was a kid, look who we looked up to. We looked up to like rock stars like Kurt Cobain, Marilyn Manson, all these rock stars, and now who these kids look up to? Justin Bieber and fucking Miley Cyrus.
Bieber would have been eaten alive. He would have been.
Yeah,
There's
that's
no
true.
way. No way.
Yeah. So
So
that, I've diagnosed the problem. There we go.
No, that's true. It's just different. I don't know.
And
It's-
wait, isn't Bieber
yeah.
Canadian?
He is.
Oh, that's
He's from the east, though. He's from the east.
okay. Well, okay.
No, yeah, he is Canadian.
You guys have to live that down. You guys gave us
Yeah.
William Shatner, but you also gave
Oh,
us
yeah.
Justin Bieber. So
We also gave him Marty McFly too.
that's right. Yeah, that's
There you
true.
go.
That's true.
There's a lot of good ones.
I think they're good
there's
outweighs
just-
the bad.
Yeah, I know. Oh, hey, actually, that brings me a topic on Paige. Did you ever watch The Odyssey?
No.
Okay, I was just
Oh.
the Canadian TV show.
Wasn't into that one.
No, I have watched some Canadian. There's different. It's weird. Like, I'm sort of. Some people up here, like, we have, like, the CBC network, and there are Canadian shows.
Yeah.
And I don't know how many of them actually make it to the States. I'm curious. I guess
This-
that's one of them.
Yeah, this
But
one.
yeah, some Canadian shows are just. They go a little too far for me.
Oh, okay, it's actually really good, and I think with your mindset, I think you'd really enjoy it because
It's called Odyssey?
The Odyssey. Yeah.
Okay.
It's about this. I did a video on it. I don't know. Maybe you didn't see it, but it's about this kid who has an accident in a treehouse, and he hits his head and goes into a coma. And then while he's in a coma, he creates this entire world that he's trying to like fight to get through. And it's like this post-apocalyptic world where there's no adults, no one over the age of 15. They're all kids. And there's
That
like
sounds
this,
awesome.
there's like this tyrannical government called the Tower, and it's one of the TV shows that Ryan Reynolds started out on. He was a young actor.
Oh, really?
Jules State from Firefly was on it. Devon Sawa was in it. I mean, it's a really awesome show. It aired like 91 to 94,
Okay.
which I guess it would be a little too.
Yeah, I would have
Yeah.
been too young to watch it,
Opposite
but
from anything Lord of the Flies. 'Cause when you think of kids running a nation, I'm thinking of Lord of the
But-
Flies.
No, dude, it's like hardcore serious. Like the tower, the guards of the tower all wear like these Nazi-esque uniforms, and I mean it's pretty hardcore serious stuff. I mean, it's not like a
Interesting.
typical kids TV show that you would think of. Like that was back when. Like I always tell people when they get on about violence in the media, I was 6 years old when I watched RoboCop for the first time. I turned
I
out
was
okay.
4 when I watched Aliens. I think it was 10 when I watched Exorcist. So,
Yeah, so obviously you turned out okay.
yeah.
I don't know. They haven't found the bodies yet. Maybe.
No.
But
That's interesting because I don't know how many of these Canadian shows actually do get aired in the States. Like, I actually don't know.
well,
So that's cool that it got aired.
some of them do. Yeah,
Like, are there any current Canadian shows on that air in the States right now?
the LA complex.
LA Complex.
Yeah,
Never heard of it.
I've actually never heard of that.
I think it's Canadian if I remember correctly. Maybe
I know
like
Rookie Blue. That's like it's all about the Toronto Police Department, so that's interesting.
Hmm.
And that's like aired on CBS, I think. But it's like Canadian, so that's kind of weird. But I don't know, like the big hit I would say, like for Canadian TV shows that got really big here was Corner Gas, and I don't know. I think that did air in the States. So I
never
don't
heard
know.
of that. Never heard of that.
And then
Was your
really
Twin
awesome
Peaks
the
show
Bear-
Canadian?
Twin Peaks was American.
Yeah, that was
American. Okay.
There's
Which,
the
by
other.
the way, I was gonna say, by the way, Dustin, I really want you to play Deadly Premonition and do
I
our
do.
thoughts on that.
I need to. You know what? It's Halloween. I'm gonna make that my next game. I'll go ahead and say it here. Deadly Premonition will be my next game.
If you do it, I'll do it too,
Okay.
because I haven't beaten it yet either. Do
Yeah.
it together.
I've been wanting to play a survival horror game, but then I got wrapped up in this Kingdom Hearts shit, and then
I'm surprised you played them back to back. That's a lot of Kingdom Hearts.
I'm surprised too. Like I'm
Yeah, that's a
surprised I'm
lot.
not like blowing my brains out right now.
Yeah, I don't think I could do that.
Okay, I'm gonna do a transition into the next topic.
Yeah,
then.
sure.
Since we're talking about Kingdom Hearts, which is on a Nintendo console, Dream Drop Distance, we're gonna talk about the farewell to Nintendo's latest console, and that is the Wii. Was that a good transition? Did I do okay?
Sure.
Whatever.
And Fem Trooper Paige actually did a nice little video herself, some Wii memories, and we figured we'd just go over a few more here on the podcast about how we got our Wii's, maybe, or that just sounds weird. I was born with mine, but anyway, how we got our Wii's and everything, and just some of our favorite standout games and what we liked about it. And I figured I'd get mine out the way first, since it's a sad story. But when I first wanted to get a Wii on launch, and that was 2006, right? Or 2007 when they came out. And
I think it was
360.
2006.
Yeah, I think 360 came out 2005. Anyway, I didn't get a 360 launch year. And I waited at my local GameStop on the day the Wii was going to come out. It was Black Friday. I got off work. I was going to get it. I was so excited. I was the 7th person in line, and I was waiting there since 3 a.m. Store was going to open at 8. They only got 4 in. I was so ticked off. So mad that I actually bought a 360 that day instead of a Wii, because I was so excited for it. And I had a 360 until then, never had anything else until this past Christmas. I finally got a Wii. So I am just now getting into the Wii just this past Christmas. I haven't even had it a year yet. And the used Wii that I actually have is currently broken. I didn't even get to finish the last story, if anyone's heard our talks on that yet. I'm right there at the end. But, I mean, I've loved it so far. I kind of wish I had it since that first day when I was waiting in a freezing cold line for it, and they just didn't have any. I really wish I would have had it then until now, but now I get to play back on some of the old gems that I missed out on, and I've enjoyed some of the stuff I picked up for it. But what was your story with it, Paige? How did you first? Did you get it on launch? What was it?
I got it about a year after it launched. And we had phoned a place and they had one and we put it on hold. They actually did put it on hold, so we picked it up. Trying to think of what
Were they still hard to get at that time? I can't remember.
Yeah,
a year later.
In fact, I don't remember the whole launch date as much, but I remember even a year after, it was ridiculous. Like, people were like freaking out, or we we'd had Wii's on hold, and if we accidentally took it off hold, like, people were screaming. And I was like, I don't know, even a year after, it was like they weren't making enough for the demand, and it was just unreal. I don't know. Because it was fun. It was like a console that was appealing to more than just kids. Because now it was like Wii Fit and all these things, and people were just freaking out.
I'm wondering if I'm mixing mine up and it wasn't because what day did they launch that on? September or November?
It was November, because I remember
Okay.
I think it's the 19th, because the Wii U comes out on the 18th, so it's like really close.
Because I know I did it on a Black Friday. I'm pretty sure I did it the same year it came out. So if I'm messing up and it's not the launch, but anyways, so you got it a year later?
Yeah, I got it a year later. Trying to think of what we actually got with it. For some reason, I'm sort of blanking of what I actually got with it. I think I got Twilight Princess, actually, like really close to when I actually bought the Wii. And that was a big deal. But yeah, I don't know. Trying to think of, because I remember New Super Mario Brothers Wii. That came out, I think, in 2009. I think. So that wasn't something. I never actually got Super Mario Galaxy till this year. So I didn't actually have tons of Wii titles. It's been my kind of sort of forgotten system in a way, where it sits there, but when I want to play it, it's there. And then I will get Wii crazy for a while.
Yeah. How about you, Dustin? Did you get it on launch? What was yours?
I got mine the following Christmas.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was Christmas morning, and I was at my then girlfriend, now wife's house. And back then, because we were just dating for a year, her parents made us sleep in separate rooms. So I was like we were kids. So I was sleeping in the guest room, and Christmas morning happened, and she came in, and she's like, before we go downstairs and I do a Christmas down there, I want to give you this. And she hands me this little package. And I unwrap it, and it's Super Mario Galaxy. And I was like, oh, that's great, honey, but I don't have a Wii. And she, like, runs out of the room bawling. Like, I've ruined Christmas. I thought you had one. And I'm like, it's okay. I'll hold on to it till I get one. And then she comes back into the room holding a big package and goes, or you can have this. And I open it up.
Oh, that's awesome.
And that's pretty good.
I open up, and there's my Wii. What happened was her dad wanted one because he, her dad actually video games a lot. He makes a sort of a yearly. He's what 75 now. He makes a yearly pilgrimage up to the attic to play Ocarina of Time every year because it's his favorite game. So he wanted one, so he waited at a Walmart. Because even that Christmas, that following Christmas, it was still ridiculously hard to find one.
I know.
And,
it's weird.
Well, I think they're doing the same thing with the Wii U. I think they're trying to, because it was not hard at all to find a 3DS, but boy, it's gonna be hard to find a Wii U.
Oh, I know. So I'm glad I'm gonna get it at launch.
But so he went and waited, in a line at midnight to get one, and got 2 of them actually. And Alice is like, "Oh, I can give she gave him the money, and she's like, "I'll give it to Dustin for Christmas." So that's how I got mine. And I tell you what, out of this generation, not including handhelds, I'm gonna go ahead and go on record here and saying the Wii is my favorite console.
Nice.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Actually, no, I get what you're saying.
Yeah, because
the first party lineup's so strong, and man, this last year was so great. But go ahead, Dustin.
The thing of the Wii is, I think not so much the system itself, but I think in the next generation, the games are going to be looked upon as we look upon the Dreamcast. And everybody who's a video game collector, everyone wants a Dreamcast. And
that's true.
And it's like, I mean, I have a Dreamcast and I like it, but at the same time, I'm like, I don't know why I want this so bad, because I mean, a lot of the games you can get on the PS2 or the GameCube and all that kind of stuff. But for some reason, I have to have a Dreamcast in my collection. And I think that when people start buying the Wii U, they're gonna be like, I need to go back and getting all these old Wii games, and they're going to see sort of what they missed out on by thinking this Wii was a console for kids and grandparents.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's true.
But also, I also think that the Wii U is kind of like the Dreamcast in a bad way. I think the Wii is like a Dreamcast in a good way, and the Wii U is like a Dreamcast in a bad way.
So what were some of your favorite titles, Dustin, and some of the standout ones that you liked on the Wii?
Well, of course, you have to have the Zeldas. The only thing I don't like about Twilight Princess is the waggle controls, because they're not very good. But Skyward Sword, aside from a few hiccups with the thing not recognizing, the normal hang-ups you're going to have, Skyward Sword's fantastic.
That was the system seller for me, actually. That's why I wanted a Wii that Christmas, was to play that game.
Of course, I have to mention Xenoblade. Probably one of the best JRPGs released in, like, honest to God, the last 5 or 10 years. It's that good.
Thoroughly agree.
Last Story is very good as well. If you buy a game on the Wii with the name House of the Dead in it, you are going to have a fantastic party game for Halloween parties and things like that. It's a lot of fun to get people together and shoot zombies. What else?
Well, that's another one for me, since you mentioned that. Since I want to get every Resident Evil thing ever, it had the shooters on the Wii, the Dark Chronicles or Umbrella Chronicles and Dark Side Chronicles, and I just had to get those because it's Resident Evil, and those are just as fun, if not funner to me. They're deeper than a House of the Dead game, and a lot of fun, easy to do, nice rail shooters with some RPG elements with upgrading your weapons and everything, and they were a good time.
That's the thing I thought we'd get a lot of on the Wii, is these light gun. I thought the Wii would really bring back light gun games, and for the games that are on there, they're really fantastic. But I figured we'd see a lot more. Like, I figured we'd see like a Virtua Cop collection and things like that. Time Crisis collection. But there's a lot of like. I feel like if you want the big AAA titles, you go to the PS3, you go to the Xbox 360. There's a lot of like B titles that are really awesome. Like Fragile Dreams on the Wii is an amazing game. Arc-Rise Fantasia, if you can get past the voice acting, you're going to have a really great time with that RPG on there. There's a lot of really hidden gems on the Wii.
And I believe you, because Go ahead, Paige.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, it's true, because everybody I feel like people just don't even know it.
Well, I don't have enough to my Wii collection yet to even have a hidden gem in it yet. I mean, my collection's really small right now because I just got it the past year. like Dustin said, the Xenoblade Last Story, Zelda Skyward Sword have those, and the Resident Evil games even have Resident Evil 4 for it. That's awesome, using the Wii remote to aim the gun and stuff in it now, and it's. I'm trying to think. I had Muramasa the Demon Blade. That was a great game.
That's a great game
for the Wii. What else do I have back there? I only have like 9 games. I can't think of them. But like Dustin said, it seems like there are a lot of hidden gems. Like even with Listen to the All Gem Gamers, that bug racing robot game or whatever it is that they always talked about. Yeah, Excitebox. There's fantastic stuff on there. And I actually bought Donkey Kong Country Returns when I didn't even have a Wii, but my grandmother did. So I would borrow hers just so I could play that game, Donkey Kong Country Returns. And that is every bit as good as the older ones to me, and it is a challenging game.
It's
you
good,
get near the end, it is tough stuff. So the Wii does have a lot of good stuff on it, especially like we're saying, their AAA titles are. Their first party titles are top notch, and I'm looking forward to digging into the hidden gems. Like I don't know if you could call. I'm really into Suda51 and their game Shadows of the Damned and Lollipop Chainsaw that just came out. But No More Heroes, man, I'm loving that game too. The 2 games they did for the Wii, No More Heroes 1 and 2. That's the type of over-the-top arcadey fun stuff in games that I like. So I don't know if y'all have tried those, but I just love those type of games.
I have to give the Wii credit for another thing. I don't know if like Xbox Live Arcade came out first or if the Virtual Console came out first for the Wii, but that thing, the Wii, is responsible for me falling in love with one of my favorite series, and that's Ys. You can download the TurboGrafx version of Ys Book 1 and 2 on the Virtual Console, and that's how I played Ys Book 1 and 2 with that, run and bump gameplay for the first time. And there's so many. You can save $80 by buying Rondo of Blood on there instead of buying it for the TurboGrafx, or the PC Engine. There's so many ways that Virtual Console can save you money if you don't want to buy the cartridges. Unfortunately, Nintendo's never released Earthbound for it, but that's another story. But yeah, the Virtual Console, you can even get Musha on the Virtual Console, and that's an $80 to $100 game.
I didn't know you could get that on the Virtual Console. Oh.
Yeah, that's one thing I like about it too.
Secret of Mana, Final Fantasy 3, all these old school, games that
they're all on there.
They're all on there. So, if you like playing old school games and you don't want to pay for these expensive carts, it's a great way to save some money.
I know people were really worried about stuff like that happening and the prices on the carts dropping down that they had. I haven't seen a change whatsoever for the most part.
No, they've been going up.
Exactly. It's
people play these and they're like, man, I really want to have the actual physical game. It's driving the price up.
Yeah.
So what would you say was your most crowning moment on the Wii page? What did you enjoy most with it, or what game was a crown jewel for you on that system?
Trying to think here. Well, I have to say that I haven't checked out Xenoblade Chronicles yet. So that's on my list. I know. It's on there. It's just I know because I'm slow. Look, I'll get to it.
Wait, have you at least bought it yet?
No. I have seen it in places though. Maybe I should do that before it gets too rare.
I would advise buying it pretty soon, because I think once the Wii U gets launched and there's like no new titles to really play on it, because the Wii U's launch is kind of lackluster. People are going to go back to those Wii games, and they're going to go back to that game, and that game's going to get really hard to find.
Yeah, okay. I should do that then.
I got 3 GameStops here and haven't seen one in stock for a couple months.
Last Story is still, I've seen that in places.
Yeah.
But I don't know, I haven't picked that up either, but yeah, Xenoblade Chronicles I haven't seen too many places. So I know it's going to become this sort of hard to find thing, so I should do that. I should get on it, and I need to make like a bookshelf or something, or a case to sort of have games lined up in order of things like, yes, I will play this next. But for the Wii, it's pretty much like I'm a huge Nintendo person as far as the actual games go.
Sorry, I sounded the dog.
Oh, that's cool. So for me, it's like a lot of the Nintendo stuff. For me, actually, and I have to say, because it's recent, not a recent game, but recent for me actually playing it, is Super Mario Galaxy. Actually, like, I was really excited about it, even though it took years for me to play it. And it's really good, so I'm happy. Something about it, and I did a review on it, but something about it made me not want to play it ever. And I don't know why I didn't, but it's great, and that I loved. I loved that they actually brought back sort of the side-scrolling Mario game, that format, as far as like New Super Mario Bros. Wii.
Why are people knocking it so much now then? Because I remember being pretty happy seeing that too on the Wii, and now it's getting a lot of hate because I guess maybe because they've done 3 in the past 3 years. I don't know.
I don't know, but like honestly, I thought it was good because like the GameCube didn't do any side-scrolling Mario, so that I didn't understand. Like, to me, that was like, oh wow, we haven't seen one of these for so long. I know they have one on the DS, but that was a big deal for me to actually have like a console that's not handheld and have that. It's good. Probably like Zelda as well. That's like Twilight Princess especially because it was sort of like, oh wow, a new Zelda title. I don't know. Like, I'm just trying to think. Like, I knew the Donkey Kong Country Returns was big for me as well. Just because I'm a huge Donkey Kong person. Sometimes I almost debate if I like the series better than I like Mario, actually. But yeah, that was a big deal. The only thing I didn't actually like about that game was that they took the Kremlings out of it as the enemy. So that kind of made me mad. It was I don't know. I know they have to switch things up, but I feel like that's almost like if they took Bowser out of a Mario game.
They did do that.
They did do that.
Are you talking about like Doki Doki Panic?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess. But I don't know, it was like, I don't know why, I thought they were messing with the format. But other than that, like, it's a great game, and I love it because I'm a huge Donkey Kong person. But yeah, pretty much like the Nintendo titles stood out for me. I do have some other like third-party stuff, but I don't actually have tons of Wii games, actually.
Well, we're talking about Bowser. Is he the final boss in the Galaxy games? Because I haven't played those. I didn't think Bowser was in those.
He's in them.
Okay. I know for me, my standout titles, just real quick, was Xenoblade Chronicles is my favorite game on that Wii. One of the best this generation, if not the best for me. That game is just everything I want in an RPG. It's just my style. Love it. You can soak so many hours into it. I actually would love to start a New Game Plus in it. New game mode. Loved it. Followed closely by the first game I had, which was, other than Donkey Kong Country Returns, Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword. And I thought I was going to spoil myself because I remember saying, it might have been one of your videos, Dustin, that if the Motion Control Pro, I thought it worked so great with the, or Motion Plus with Skyward Sword. I thought I was going to get spoiled going back and playing all these other games that don't have it because I just thought it was so perfect in the game when I was playing it. So those 2 games are just hands down my favorite Wii games on the system that I played.
I have Skyward Sword, but I haven't actually gotten to play it yet. So
loved it. I love
I know, and I've heard mixed things, but everybody it's a good game, is what people are saying. I will get there.
So what about you, Dustin? Your breakout game, or one that sticks most to you from the Wii?
Well, it'd be easy to say Xenoblade, but I'm going to go in a different direction, because this is actually a game that I've since moved down in front of my games, and I'm looking at my Wii collection here. And one of the greatest games on the Wii that I don't think a lot of people either know about or don't give it enough, attention is Sin and Punishment Star Successor.
Hey, I got that one too. Yeah, I forgot I had it.
Yeah, you are not going to find a more frantic game out there than that. I mean, that is just like a pure adrenaline rush.
So Sin and Punishment.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and say that.
Interesting.
Well, since we're saying farewell to the Wii, we might as well welcome in the Wii U. So, what do you guys want to expect here from the Wii U? Then just launching here in a few weeks. I know, Paige, you got yours pre-ordered. I mean, what are you excited about for it? Why are you hyped to pre-order that thing? What made you want to go get it?
I don't know. I'm thinking, for me, because I'm such a big Mario person, I'm really excited about the new Super Mario Brothers U. So that's really exciting. For me, it's I know that the graphics are going to be better, and to me it's just going to be an ultimate sort of Nintendo experience, I guess. I'm really excited to where they take it graphically, because I'm not huge, I'm not a graphics person, where some people I don't know. You know what I mean. I can't.
Yeah.
That it doesn't bother me. But I am excited to see, like, for example, what a new Legend of Zelda game will look like on it. How much better will it be? Because I actually thought the Wii graphics were fine. They've never bothered me that it's not HD. I really didn't care. But I am excited to see where they go with it. And I know, like, as far as, like, launch titles, like, the only thing I'm really excited about is Mario Brothers. But, yeah, I don't know. I just, for some reason, I got really excited. I saw the E3, like, sort of trailers and previews of it, and it just looks really exciting. So, I don't know. I'm excited. But there's not, like, a specific reason. I'm just really excited to get a console on launch date.
Cool. What about you, Dustin? Is there something you hope they might do different that maybe they didn't do this past generation, or what are you looking forward to?
Well, I how do I word this? I think that the Wii U is going to be a little bit more successful for Nintendo because I think they're going to court a lot more third-party developers to the system. But at the same time, I worry that the system is going to sort of lose its identity. Because, you know, when you think about it, 360 and PS3, you know, I have both. But really, my 360 is the main console that I buy games for. And then the PS3 is the stuff that I buy mainly just the exclusives for. You know what I mean? And I have a feeling, I just worry that the Wii U is, one, going to go that direction. But also, I'm kind of worried that, like I said, it's kind of like the Dreamcast was when it first came out. It comes out, and it wows everybody, and then, you know, the PS2 and the Xbox come out and completely blow it out of the water.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm worried about that, you know, people still won't take Nintendo seriously, especially, you know, the sort of people we've been talking about all night who, you know, the my dick is bigger than yours crowd. I don't see them ever buying a Nintendo system because it's for kids, blah, 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 blah. That being said, I still think the Wii U is going to have a lot of great games. I mean, you know, Monolith Soft is making another game for it, so that's enough for me. Supposedly, rumor has it that Kingdom Hearts 3 might be a Wii U exclusive.
Ooh.
I mean, that's just a big, big, big rumor right now. But I mean, it makes sense in one way.
Do you think that would be like maybe if game companies over in Japan are trying to get stuff localized here? Like I know it seemed like Sony, you could get. We always would hope like the Tales game that got made for a PS3 and brought over here. Do you think companies might be choosing the Wii U at first for like, let's make the game for this, and we might get a better chance of seeing more games get localized through Nintendo? Or do you think it's a better chance of them being localized if they're with Sony still?
I still think the best bet for localization is Sony, because it does seem like...
Even after what Nintendo showed us this year, of how they're listening, kind of.
Well, but look at what we didn't get. We didn't get Pandora's Tower. We still haven't got Another Code R. We didn't get Earthseeker. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that... I mean, the Wii... It's kind of... The Wii over in Japan is almost a completely different console than what it is over here.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, I still kind of look back and I look at the PS3 library, and with things like Record of Agrias War, you know, and Star Ocean Last Hope International Edition, Tales of Graces, you know, there's still a lot of JRPG stuff happening on the PS3.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know. I feel like the Wii U and the PS3 are mainly where the Japanese developers are going to be, because no one gives a fuck about Microsoft in Japan. But you know, what gets localized easier? That I don't know.
You know what's crazy is they still come out with the good shooters though for the Xbox 360 over there.
Oh, that
we got to import to get over here.
Oh yeah, the bullet hell shooters. Yeah, it's so weird. Like it's weird that Mistwalker kind of signed an exclusivity deal with them. You know.
That too.
You look at some of the games that come out in Japan on the 360, and you're like, really? You're going to release that on the 360? Oh, okay. The only people that buy it over there are the Americans living over there, but okay.
And I think the thing for me is kind of like adding on to what Paige was saying is just a simple thing for seeing a Zelda. And like, I'm not a big graphics person either. I thought the Wii, like stuff like Xenoblade and Skyward Sword, I thought they were beautiful games. Even the Muramasa and the Demon Blade. But being able to finally see these Nintendo characters in high definition is going to be a treat in itself. And just seeing all that just come together in a beautiful HD color palette. Oh, I think that's what I'm most excited about.
That makes me excited, for sure.
I'm excited for two things. Samus Aran in her Zero suit in HD, and Mario's beer gut in HD.
Yeah.
Mario's beer gut.
Actually, one thing that I was thinking about was like a negative thing was that it still is. They're still going with the Wii title.
Yeah.
It's not like a completely different name now. And I know they'll probably. I think the next thing they do, they might stray away from it. It'll be something else. But I don't know. I was wondering if that would hurt it because people have this image in their head of what the Wii is. It's just people jumping around. And I think I don't know if that people might think, oh, it's just like an upgraded version of that.
Well, it's the same thing like with the DS and the 3DS. I mean, a
Oh,
lot of parents didn't know the difference. They thought it was just another a DS with 3D. They're like, oh, we can play the old DS games in 3D. I was like, no, it's a completely new system. It took, I mean, it took a lot more explanation that was necessary to say this was a new system. You know, it's not like PS1, PS2, PS3. You know, that's very you understand that. It's like, oh, this is the sequel. This is the new thing. But like Wii U, I don't know what that U is supposed to mean. You know,
I have no idea what that means.
So
don't ask me.
Yeah.
Speaking of what could be good or bad, I mean, I think now we've reached to a plateau where controllers have gotten to what they're going to be. Like for me, others may have another opinion. I think the 360 is the perfect controller to fit in your hand, fit comfortably. I mean, Nintendo's biting off of it already. What do you think of the idea of them still bringing the same Wii compatible controllers? Like you're going to be using your regular Wii controllers, and that kind of was a big deterrent for a lot of people. They didn't want to play with those. You think it's a good thing or a bad thing that they're not trying to figure out a new controller, or is it good that they're just using the same old stuff to kind of help the consumer out a little bit?
Well, I don't think
Any takers.
I don't know. Oh, sorry. I was just saying, for me, I think it's a bit of both. That for some people, they're just going to see it and it'll just turn them off completely. And like for me, I don't really care. Like my perfect controller, I've always liked the PlayStation controllers because I mean they sort of never really changed it, and I just like the way they sit in your hands. But I don't know, the Wii controller, it's iffy for me. I thought they would maybe bring in a new controller, and I guess they're not. I know they have that tablet thing that's
they got and the Wii and the Pro controller, but yeah.
Yeah, in general, I don't know. Like, personally, I don't care, because if it's a good game, I'll just make do with it. But sometimes I wish they had a nice fitting controller. I know you can buy, like, the classic controller for the Wii, but in general, sometimes I wish they changed it. I don't know. It's hard to say.
I think the I'm getting there.
Okay.
I think using the Wii controller for the Wii U is a smart move because honestly, like, what can you do to that controller to improve it? You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like, what can you do to update it? I mean, you can make it more sensitive, but other than that, it's like, you know, it's such a basic controller design. What more can you do? So it's like if they introduced a new version of it, people would just be going, well, what the fuck? Why can't I just use my old one? You know what I mean?
Yeah, sure.
I think the tablet controller, somebody brought this up, and I can't remember who said this, but somebody thought that we'd get like DS and 3DS games ported to the Wii U because now we have two screens, and I think I mean that'd be a cool thing to have, like a virtual console for the DS on the Wii U, and you can use the two screens to do the dual screen stuff. Because how awesome would it be to play World Ends With You on a big screen? That'd be pretty awesome. But I think that the when the stuff first comes out, I think everything's going to be trying to cram all this touchscreen crap into the game, and then I feel like by the end of the Wii U's life cycle, we'll all be using Pro controllers. You know what I mean? Like they'll scale back that they'll scale back the dual screen stuff and the touchscreen stuff, and it'll be like the Wii. You know, did we use motion controls for Xenoblade? No.
Nope.
So.
It just seems a little confusing to me, though, because that means you're going to try to develop a game for 3 different type of control types, possibly. And it seems kind of dumb. Why didn't you just regulate it to, well, we're going to have a tablet controller, and we're just going to do a tablet, and then the Pro controller to make it a little bit easier? I don't understand why would you bring in the Wii controllers to only have to make another controller setup for that to the game. Just seems like a lot of extra work to have to put in for something if they're going to do it.
I think the reason is because the developers, I think Miyamoto said there's no way Zelda can ever go back to non-motion controls. So they have to have something there for the motion stuff. So what we're probably going to see...
That means I'm going to set the tablet down to play Zelda then?
You probably wouldn't be using the tablet.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's the thing. I think that we're going to see, instead of like them cramming motion controls and normal controls in the games, we're going to see kind of like how PlayStation did with the Move. We're going to see motion control games that just have the motion controls. And then normal games, they're not going to cram this motion control crap into there because they don't need to, because they have an actual real controller now. So you're going to have your Call of Duties and your Darksiders and things like that use normal controls and not the waggle. But you're still going to have the waggle there for games, that really warrant the waggle,
Yeah. Okay, understandable. I kind of want I really hope the tablet works though, because I'm really intrigued and hoping it will work well, because I'm looking forward to playing some Dragon Quest X on it. I guess going into games and stuff, I think like Dustin, that's going to be the seller for me, unless something comes out before it. I really hope we get it over here. It seems like it will make stuff a whole lot easier, like implementing, like putting your equipment on it and everything, and just with the tap of the screen. So I really hope they do get that to work well and that it'll all function properly for them. And I hope they do put it to good use and not just forget about it, like you're kind of saying, like we're probably going to all be going to pro controllers. I hope they implement stuff to make me want to keep using that tablet.
Well,
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I wasn't saying yeah.
Well, the thing that drives me nuts about that tablet, and this is what drives me nuts about this system, is the fact that in Japan, let's just say you happen to break that tablet. How do you get another one? Do you contact Nintendo to get another one? Because in Japan you can buy one, and but they're $170, and it's like, even now I like treat my PlayStation 3 controller like it's gold, because it's like if I break that, I gotta go drop $50 for another one.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And if it's a choice between a $170 touch controller or that Pro controller, which is probably going to be $50, I'll probably be using that Pro controller more, because I don't want that tablet to break. You got
a point, yeah.
That's true.
It's like the stupidest thing I saw was a demo where they were playing golf, and they put the tablet controller on the floor, and I'm like,
it's like, wow.
If I put that on the floor, I'd have Duncan running over it, and cracking the screen.
And I'd see my son picking that up and just throwing it as soon as I put it down on the ground. So. But yeah, I guess that's it then for Wii U. I guess we're all excited for it, and we'll be looking forward to Paige's video on it. You got to do something for it when you get it, like initial impression
maybe
or something.
Maybe I'll do an unboxing.
That'd be neat.
We'll see. The packaging looks pretty cool, I have to say.
So you did get the 32 or the upper one?
Yeah, I got the upper one, the black one, the deluxe.
And I'm still a little baffled by that. 32 gigabytes. Come on, Nintendo. I was a little disappointed in that, even though we do have our external hard drives and stuff these days to do whatever we want and save with them or whatever. But still, that just seems a little low ball on us there with the memory.
Yeah, but it is Nintendo, and I don't think Nintendo has fully kind of wrapped their mind around this yet. You know what I mean?
Oh, and better online network system would be. I mean, the friend codes don't bother me. Me and you were playing Code of Princess, Dustin. It didn't seem like too much of a hassle to add you as a friend on a 3DS, but from what I heard, the Wii was pretty annoying.
Yeah, because it was an individual code per game.
Ooh, really? That stinks.
Yeah, because I didn't understand that when I first got my Wii, and my friends had Smash Brothers and some other games, and I was like, hey, give me your friend code. And they're like, which one? And I'm like, oh.
So there we go, Nintendo, because we know you're listening, Reggie.
Yeah.
So make sure you do a better online system, and make sure you have a limited edition Dragon Quest console. That'd be pretty awesome too.
Ooh.
So those are my two things.
That'd be nice. I'd buy that.
When Dragon Quest X comes out, make sure you have a special console for it over here.
I'd buy that for $1.
But we did have one more question. If we want to end our show on a question we were asked.
It's a deep question too.
It's a pretty good question. we had a question asked from Black Wolf's Cry on our last video, who pretty much asked us, do we let game reviews like influence us any of these days with a new release or something that's coming out, or if it would stray you maybe buying it or waiting on it or anything? And for me personally, reviews don't do anything for me, so it's a pretty simple answer. If even I knew even people were bashing Resident Evil 6 before it came out, I knew I was still gonna get it. The last story review I saw where someone gave it a 6, it did not bother me at all. So simply no, reviewers don't do nothing for me. I really value the opinions though of fellow YouTubers like Dustin, Ball and Nick. Paige is getting in here, giving us her thoughts on games. So I mean, I do appreciate YouTubers' videos because it's more people down to earth, seem you can relate to, who aren't trying to make a buck on a review or anything. They're just trying to give you an honest, heartfelt opinion. So I do value YouTubers actually more than reviewers, but I'm going to get a game because I want it, not because of what someone else thinks about it. So pretty short for me. There you go. Whoever wants it next.
Paige.
Sure. For me, sometimes I'll check review sites, but in general, it's mostly people like on YouTube. I'll go on YouTube and say like, I don't know, look up some game review and then see what other people are saying, because they're the people that are truly playing them. They're not making money, like you said, off of it, really. And to me, it's more real. It's not something that's all typed up professionally and like, I don't know. I've seen some reviews from different websites and I don't know, they just seem kind of fake to me, as opposed to hearing somebody actually talk about their experience with the game. So, sort of pretty much exactly what you said. Because, yeah, I don't know, I'd like hearing what other people in the YouTube community have to say about it, as opposed to reading reviews, because sometimes they can be totally off.
They can, man. I still do watch like a video. I'll go to game trailers, watch a video review to see like just some gameplay footage and stuff, and some thoughts on it, some good things. But it's not going to stray me at all. So, what do you think, Dustin?
Well, we actually talked about this before we started the podcast, Steven. And I brought up a video to you that was done by Chargeback Forward, where Big Mike was talking about sort of how he felt that Resident Evil 6 was sort of mishandled by the media because a lot of people base their reviews on the demo of the game and things like that. And for the most part, I agree with what he says. Not with that particular game, but just sort of the reviews in general, because I really do feel that a lot of people that went into like video game journalism thought, this is going to be a great friggin' job. All I got to do is just play video games and write about this. I mean, even me, sitting here doing YouTube, I think, oh man, that'd be a great job, And then you get into it and the grind of actually having to do this, and you realize, oh crap, this is actually a real job. Corners get cut, and I feel, especially with RPGs, when I read a review of an RPG, I really scrutinize the review, because I'm like, usually you can tell when they stop playing the game. You can tell they only play it to a certain point, and they're like, they don't know what else to say.
And some American reviewers, just if it's a JRPG, you'll see in their words like it's your typical Japanese RPG, and it's exactly like discrimination against the JRPG.
Yeah. And it's like, like Big Mike was talking about in the video. These reviewers will talk about typical JRPG, doing nothing to further the genre 6.0. And then the next review is the same reviewer talking about Call of Duty, the newest Call of Duty game, which is like Call of Duty 35 now, and it gives a 9.5, and there's no consistency. But it's not so much comparing apples and oranges, RPGs and first-person shooters. It's if you're going to lambaste one genre of game for not pushing things forward, and you look over at these first-person shooters, which basically, if you've played one, you've kind of played them all. Let's be honest. There's no consistency there. So, I often read like IGN reviews and GameSpot reviews and things like that, and I just kind of laugh, because who was it that gave Last Story a 4?
Game Informer.
Wow.
Yeah. And I'm like, for one,
Or no, that was Destructoid. Game Informer gave it a 6.
Game Informer gave it a 6.
Destructoid gave it a 4.
Yeah, which I understand. This is the reason why I really think that happened, because there was so much hype for these games. Okay, and when there's a certain amount of hype for something, the internet automatically creates a backlash, and it's like the game was released and people just wanted to go, oh, all you nerds fucking pushed for this, and now it's not that good, so 4. You know, that's exactly what happened. Because it's not a Xenoblade. It's not like a great game.
Yeah.
But it is a very good modern day
It's a good
RPG.
game.
And nowhere in the game design do you look at that and go, this is a 4. Whatever a 4 is, it's not a 4.
Yeah, that's
Because it's above average. Yeah, there's some slowdown, and some of the mechanics don't work extremely well, but there are worse playing games that get higher scores than that.
so true. So true.
So long story short, I guess, because I tend to go on about these things. I read reviews, but I really kind of take them with a grain of salt.
I think that's the way everyone should do it too.
Yeah.
Form your own opinion on a game. Don't go by someone else's. If you're iffy on it, just wait till it gets a little bit cheaper. But I mean, if you have people you trust, like I do trust people's opinions on games, but just form your own.
Yeah.
Form your own.
So
Well, I think that about wraps this podcast up. Unless you guys can think of anything else.
No.
I mean,
I don't know.
I could talk forever about games, but yeah, I guess
know.
we should probably cut this one off.
hey, I made it through
But,
without
I mean-
dying. That's good.
Exactly. I'm glad you're healthy here, Dustin. You have a clear, nice tone in this podcast. That's awesome. You didn't get sick.
Yes.
Paige, it's awesome to have you as our first official guest. I think you
Yeah,
were pretty
thanks.
good. You were a great guest on the show. We hope to have you back again. A lot
Yeah,
of
I'll do
fun.
this again.
And anyone else, continue still. Please, if you want to be on there, we do got a couple people lined up next couple episodes. But if you want to be on, just send us a message. We're open to anything. Continue to ask us questions on our page. We'll gladly answer them. Thank you, Black Wolves Cry again for asking us one. We appreciate it. And I think that about does it. So just thanks again, Paige, for coming. Dustin, it was a pleasure.
Yeah.
Pleasure as always. Yes. And Paige,
And I
thank you.
guess-
Yes, thank you, Paige, for joining us. I think we had a very nice episode here, and I hope we have
Yeah.
you back.
Yeah, I'll definitely do it again.
And you see how things work when you actually schedule things. We actually scheduled this, and it all worked out,
Yeah.
and it works smooth. So me and Dustin will try to get in the hang of that, getting these things scheduled.
Oh, but it's getting scheduled and it's getting routine. It's losing the magic, Steven. Oh.
Yes. But anyways, we appreciate you guys listening. So I guess that's about it. Bye.
Bye-bye, everyone. Say bye, Paige.
See ya.
Yep, there we go.
See ya.
All right, done.